Chapter 60. The driver looked at Qin Guang suspiciously. After all, the way he ran out of the police station in a panic was a little suspicious. However, Sun Xiaoxuan and Gaoya, who were sitting in the back seat, dispelled his suspicions. He carefully looked at Qin Guang and started the car. As soon as the taxi left, Wu Tong rushed out with a huge rubber baton in her hand. Her mouth was still roaring. Her face was ferocious and her hair was disheveled. Her aura was as terrifying as a ferocious tiger, and her hair was standing on end. Unfortunately, Qin Guang and the others had already left in the car, so she couldn't catch up. She stomped her feet and slammed the rubber baton on the railing of the flower terrace. Her eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. However, she wasn't as bad as Qin Guang had feared. At least she didn't take out her gun. Even if she couldn't catch up with anyone, she just used the baton to vent her anger on the public facilities nearby. The reason why she chased after Qin Guang with a pole was purely out of embarrassment, and she didn't really want to beat Qin Guang up. After venting for a while, she gradually calmed down and began to think about this strange thing. Was I bewitched or something? How could I be like that? There's no reason. Wu Tong clearly remembered everything that had happened in the past half an hour. Even now, when she thought back to it, she could still feel the unforgettable feeling of love that could last for eternity. She didn't understand why she fell so deeply in love with that man without any warning before it happened. Suddenly she fell in love with him. She was possessed and she lost her soul. What happened in the next half an hour made Wu Tong blush and her heart beat faster. She was extremely embarrassed. Ever since she was young, she had never fallen in love with a man. How could it be so intense this time? She couldn't even control her thoughts. Fortunately, that brat Qin Guang could be considered a gentleman. Otherwise, he had no idea how much of a loss he would have suffered today. If it was a beast without conscience, he would have already been devoured in the detention room. That's fine, but why did I suddenly lose that feeling? It wasn't completely gone. Now that she thought about it, her heart still raced. Could it be that Qin Guang knew hypnosis? That didn't make sense. As an excellent graduate of the police academy, Wu Tong was quite proficient in criminal psychology. Although she didn't know hypnosis, she could be considered half a psychologist. There was no reason for her to be hypnotized so easily. At that time, Qin Guang didn't do anything. Unless he could hypnotize her with his eyes, but that was impossible. Even the best hypnotist in the world couldn't hypnotize a well-trained police officer with his eyes. With infinite suspicion, Wu Tong returned to the police station in embarrassment. Wang Long and the others were hiding in the corner of the hall. When they saw her coming, they quickly turned their heads to the side, but the strange smile on their faces lingered. Whoever laughs again will come with me to practice kickboxing this weekend. Wu Tong snorted through her nose. Wang Long and the others immediately sat up straight and put on a stern face. What a joke. Wu Tong's reputation as the domineering policewoman of the Wuxia branch was not only because she was beautiful and had a fiery temper. More importantly, it was because she had amazing kickboxing skills as a woman. Even among all the branches in Wujing, she was definitely one of the best. Us bean sprouts who would be willing to practice kickboxing with her for no reason. They would just be a punching bag. While the Wuxia branch was in a mess because of Wu Tong's matter, Qin Guang's situation was much better. Although Sun Xiaoxuan and Gaoya were suspicious of Qin Guang's unusual behavior, the two girls later heard the policewoman's terrifying scream and saw her chase after Qin Guang with a stick. Qin Guang, that police officer? Sun Xiaoxuan asked in the car. Qin Guang curled his lips helplessly. God knows what's wrong with her. Maybe she's mentally ill. I just felt that something was wrong with her, but she insisted on letting me go. I thought it would be better to come out earlier, so I dragged you guys away, afraid that she would change her mind. Oh. Qin Guang didn't explain in detail, but Sun Xiaoxuan completely believed him. Love could not only blind people, but Gaoya also thought that Sun Xiaoxuan was completely blind. After the three of them got out of the car, Qin Guang planned to send the two girls back to the girls' dorm. At the door of the dorm, Sun Xiaoxuan let Gaoya go upstairs first. She still had something to ask Qin Guang. Gaoya rolled her eyes, silently cursing Sun Xiaoxuan for valuing a girl over a friend, but she still went up first. The effect of the knockout powder had almost worn off. Sun Xiaoxuan had just slept, so she was much more energetic now. You know about Pan Zhang's injury, right? It's pretty serious. Sun Xiaoxuan was like a young wife who had done something wrong. As she spoke, she nervously rubbed her hands. Qin Guang, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have trusted him. If I hadn't gone to that meal he wouldn't have had the chance and you wouldn't have. I'm the one who dragged you down. Qin Guang shook his head. That's not necessarily true. I've always known that Pan Jiang isn't a good person. Even if you didn't go this time and avoided it, what about next time? You can avoid it once but you can't avoid it forever. He'll reveal his true colors sooner or later. I think it's better this way. The sooner you expose him the less likely you'll be to fall for it again. What if you fall for it again when I'm not at school? That'll be terrible. Besides, you don't have to apologize. We're classmates and friends. When a friend is in trouble it's only right for me to help. By the way, how did Officer Wu decide on the punishment? She didn't want to let you go before. Sun Xiaoxuan asked again. She couldn't feel at ease if she didn't figure it out. It's not a big deal. I'll probably just have to pay 1,000 yuan fine and pay for Pan Zhang's medical fees. Even then it's probably just around 10,000 yuan. Qin Guang tried his best to look indifferent, but he was actually quite pained. He hadn't even warmed up the 50,000 yuan he earned from saving Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage a few days ago, and now it was all gone. Of course, the most annoying thing was that he just remembered that he had left the police station so quickly that he didn't have time to pay the fine. Who knew if Wu Tong, that terrifying policewoman, would use this as an excuse to cause trouble for him? Although he didn't have to worry about being detained after all, his own people had already come out. The punishment decision couldn't be easily changed and he would be arrested again. He just didn't know how he should face the explosive policewoman. Should he continue acting in his crappy Korean drama, or should he beg her to let him go? He really couldn't face her face. It didn't matter how beautiful she was. That woman was definitely a white-bone demon in her previous life. 10,000 yuan. Sun Xiaoxuan, who was on the other side, was shocked by the amount, but he immediately said, I'll find a way to get it. I'll call my dad later. You don't have to. You didn't hit him, so why would I ask you to pay? I hit him, so I'll pay for it myself. What's the point of asking for your money? Qin Guang immediately refused. But aren't you short of money? Sun Xiaoxuan still insisted. It's not a matter of money but a matter of principle as a man. A man must be responsible. Don't say anything, I'll pay for it myself. Okay, you go up, I'm going back to my dorm to rest. Qin Guang said and was about to leave. Sun Xiaoxuan had no choice but to stop insisting. Suddenly he saw the cup in Qin Guang's hand and said, Wait a minute, I'm a little thirsty, can I have a sip of water from your cup? Take it. Qin Guang didn't think too much and directly handed the cup to Sun Xiaoxuan. This is the cup he drinks from. If I drink from this cup and he drinks from me, is it considered an indirect kiss? God knows that Sun Xiaoxuan was actually thinking about this at this time. After drinking the water, she clearly saw the decorative painting on the cup with the light from the street outside the girl's dorm. Her face suddenly turned red and she stuffed the cup into Qin Guang's arms. She said that she would see him tomorrow and then went upstairs. What's wrong with her? Qin Guang felt a little strange. Is there something wrong with the cup? He also looked at the decorative painting on the cup and then, puff. Luli, female pervert. You're deliberately tricking me. Aren't you a flying goddess in a long skirt? Why did you suddenly turn into a big-breasted girl in a bikini? How do you expect me to go out and greet people with this cup? What a scam. In order to control that pretty police officer's mind, I used too much of my divine power, and I can't maintain the lustrous feather dress anymore. I can't let you see it naked and I'm already risking my life to maintain this bit of fabric. Don't worry about these details, okay? Do you think I want to do this? The colored glazed Xinhuang, the Xinhuang who appeared and disappeared mysteriously, actually appeared again. Why did I say again? Didn't she sound like she was about to collapse from exhaustion just now? Was this guy faking it? Chapter 61. Then you have to think of another reliable way. Why do you have to make her fall in love with me? Can't there be a second choice? Qin Guang expressed his disdain for Emperor of the Azure's irresponsible behavior. Liu Li sneered, Well, what do you know, little brat? Now that my divine power is greatly damaged, if I want to help you escape from prison, I really have no other way but this method. Since you can make her love me so much, can't you just control her thoughts a little and make her let me go? Liu Li spat again. What do you know, I'm just trying to help you get rid of your worries. Do you know that the most difficult thing to understand and figure out in the world is the human heart? Now that my divine power is weak, if I want to get you out, I can't directly blow up this place, so I have to find a reasonable reason for you, so I can only make a move on that beautiful policewoman's mind. But you don't have to make her fall in love with me, do you? Not at all. There are two best ways to control a mortal's mind. One is thought control, which is roughly what you expect, which is equivalent to hypnosis in your world. The second is this emperor's unique method, emotional control. This method saves time and effort. As long as you make her fall in love with you, she will naturally be willing to do something that is beneficial to you under the permission of her own principles. How could Liuli bear Qin Guang's questioning of her? There was no other way. She had to maintain the majesty of the emperor in front of him. My savior is so weak, but his temper is so stubborn. I have to explain clearly to him, otherwise this guy will cause trouble sooner or later. What you said is very high-end. But I think the first plan's thought control is also pretty good. Pretty good? Let me put it this way. If I had only used mind control, she would have let you go without even knowing it. And then, when she wakes up, her colleagues will tell her what she did just now, but she will find that she has no memory of it, and she will make the decision to let you go purely without knowing it. What do you think will happen next? Probably, she'll rush over and grab me back and try to figure out what I did to her? That's right. I can only say that there will be endless troubles in the future. Aren't you afraid of troubles in the future the most? However, I used the second method to control her emotions. I didn't need a clear direction. I just needed to make her fall deeply in love with you. Then she would let you go. Moreover, she would remember every detail of the entire process and clearly know what she was thinking at that time. Although she didn't understand why she would suddenly fall in love with a stranger like you, she could deeply remember the feeling of being in love without any regard for her own safety. Love, no reason, no excuse. After that, she will only look for the reason from herself and will not suspect you. You won't have anything to worry about. You're right, I'm speechless. Qin Guang was tongue-tied. Lu Li's method was quite powerful, but unfortunately, it only lasted for half an hour. Do you still think that what I did was wrong? Emperor of the Azure became proud. I used all my strength for you and you don't even know how to thank me, you heartless bastard. All right. Anyway, thanks a lot. Speaking of which, I only controlled her for half an hour, it's not enough. With the old man's endurance, it would take at least 4 hours. Qin Guang became happy, thinking that Emperor of the Azure's method was quite good, and he could use it more in the future. Save it, I only used it once and it lasted for half an hour. Even the lustrous feather robe was gone. I can't be bothered with you. I already said that this Emperor's divine power is low and I used so much in one go. Let me tell you. I overdraft again. If it wasn't for this Emperor being willing to show you how powerful this great ant is, I wouldn't even bother to help you. I already said that the hardest thing to fathom is the human heart. Even a mortal's heart is mysterious and hard to fathom. The amount of divine power needed to control a person's emotions is no less than killing a deity. Suddenly, Qin Guang had an uneasy feeling in his heart as he muttered, I've overdrawn myself again. You're saying that the divine power you used just now can kill a deity? This rhythm seemed familiar. The instantaneous sea was something that you created because you wanted to save face. Next, I experienced the mosaic pond if I overdraft again. Hey. Are you a moonlight swiper clan? Why are you getting poorer as you live? It's like this. So, I'm afraid that your next realm in the cup will shrink again. It's all your fault. You've only completed 2 of the lowest realm in the cup, the spirit seeing sky test. This old woman is really unlucky. I don't even know when I can recover my divine power. I'm really king a dog. Can I happily be a divine equipment? Last time you gave me a mosaic pond, this time you're going to give me a nutrition cabin? Shouldn't the crux of the problem be the instantaneous sea that you created for me the first time? Let's not talk about the past. Anyway, in your words, the next test is indeed a mosaic nutrition cabin. Forget about the nutrition cabin. There's even a mosaic. Faster thief. You must be a clown sent by the endless god realm to trick me. There's no need for other tests. Locking me in a mosaic nutrition cabin is the most terrifying confinement in history. Hey, you can't be serious, right? I'm serious. Helping you this time really cost me so much I've even taken off my clothes. What else do you expect? Alright, it's not easy to recover some divine power. It's a waste to come out and talk nonsense with you. I really have to go. The next time I come out, it will be the time for you to accept the test. Be mentally prepared. Young man. Let's work hard together and create a better tomorrow. After saying this, Emperor of the Azure really stopped moving. Hey, wait a minute. Tell me when you're coming out next time. Otherwise, how do you expect me to prepare? There was no sound. She had indeed disappeared. Qin Guang wanted to smash the cup in his hand. Why were other people's portable grandpas so cool? Other people's artifacts could level up 2 times a day, dominate the world in 3 days. But when it came to his turn, not only was there no hope of leveling up, it was actually regressing. The world in the cup was getting smaller and smaller, and it was getting worse and worse. King leveled up in the opposite direction. Then what's the next step for the nutrition cabin? A coffin that can only hold half a body? Or maybe an urn? He finally understood. No matter how powerful and effective the second plan was to change feelings, he could not let Emperor of the Azure use it easily in the future. The loss was too great, it was too heavy. Moreover, her method still had a time limit, to overdraft her divine power for a short period of pleasure, making the world in the cup worse and worse. He would rather die than accept such a deceptive setting. Picking up the cup, looking at the bikini portrait on it, Qin Guang used his finger to poke the chest of the portrait. I'm so angry, I'll poke you until you explode. Chapter 62. In the end, he still couldn't break it. After all, the portrait on the cup was embedded in the glass. Even if he used a knife, he wouldn't be able to cut it. As he went upstairs, Qin Guang thought to himself, because of my matter today, Lin Jingwei and the others have been busy the whole day. I haven't gone back yet. They must still be worried about me, right? When he walked to the door of the dormitory, there was a huge argument going on inside. Qin Guang was touched. What a group of good brothers. They must be discussing how to break into the prison to save me, right? He pushed the door open. By Xianxia, you scammer. I told you that the current blue cat is weak. I told you not to choose, but you insisted. It's been almost 30 minutes and you, a mid-blue cat, haven't even spawned a single purple grudge. What are we going to use to fight the other side? Xiong yelled at the top of his lungs. You still have the face to say that? You play support without buying chicken. The other side's bounty comes to attack me once every minute, and you don't even give me a true sight. The other side's bad support teams up to farm me every day, and not a single TP comes to save me. You still have the face to scold me? Bai Nyangzi didn't want to be outdone. Little Lin said quietly, you guys hold on for another 20 minutes and I'll come out of the mountain. Come out of the mountain, my ass. The base is going to explode. Hurry up and come back. We're going to be tortured. He was touched for nothing. This group of animals. Pushing open the door, Qin Guang went straight to his desk. That scammer Azure still didn't have a specific time to appear, but she had used up a lot of energy today. At the very least, she definitely wouldn't appear for the test in the cup today. Qin Guang could finally catch his breath. The long-awaited sound of the computer booting up almost moved him to tears. Yo, brother Guang, you're back? Lin Jingwei finally saw Qin Guang when he was drinking water. The other two didn't even raise their heads. Bai Fan said, it's good that you're back. Hurry up and turn it on. Tomorrow is the sports meet. If the power doesn't go out tonight, we can still do 3 more rounds. Qin Guang was furious. You 3 heartless beasts. Who the hell wants to fight with you? That's right, his hands were also itching. He hadn't dared to relax for even a second for many years. His heart was tired and he wanted to play a game to relax. However, he was unsure of his current state in Dota 2. He did not know to what extent the aftereffects of being forced to become the best player in history had been alleviated. If he were to play together with these 3 grandsons, 1 round would definitely not be enough. Bai Nyangzi would ask for 3 rounds the moment he opened his mouth. He had a phobia of Dota 2, but he didn't have any other games that he liked. He could only think of a way to adapt to it bit by bit. He opened the app and logged into his account. A party invitation immediately popped up. It was from Wenwen. Qin Guang accepted the invitation. You're about to take the CET4 exam. Why aren't you studying? Wenwen asked him in the party channel. With a chuckle, Qin Guang replied, don't worry about it. I guarantee that I'll complete the mission. I'll only play 1 round. That's fine. We agreed to only play 1 round. If you dare to start a second round, I'll chop you to death. Wenwen was a little distrustful of Qin Guang. Just 1 round. I said 1 round and I'll do it. By the way, why didn't you play by yourself? I only went online for less than 5 seconds before you added me. Don't tell me it's such a coincidence that you just finished a round? Qin Guang asked as the two of them started to queue. I was just watching a drama. I put my account here to spy on you. Sure enough, I caught you red-handed. On the other side of the computer, Wen had a proud look on her face. She didn't know why, but as long as she was chatting with Qin Guang, she would become very relaxed. After waiting for about 2 to 3 minutes, the two of them finally started playing. On the other side, Bai Fan and the other two animals finally finished their round. Without any suspense, the three of them were beaten up by their opponents in a fancy manner. They gave their opponents a good show of respect and love. With their broken and wounded hearts, the three of them gathered behind Qin Guang. This guy teamed up with the beautiful Wen again. He's a shameless bootlicker. Lin Jingwei clenched his teeth. 5,000 points in a team. His actual combat power is 3,000 points. Brother Guang, you're really the glory of the bootlicker world. You must have a unique bootlicker technique. Bai Fan was jealous and envious. Wen is really my goddess. She's beautiful, plays games well, and has an even better temper. If it were me, I'd definitely be pissed to death when I bring Brother Guang to a 5,000-point game every day. Sigh, it's just that goddess Wen's eyesight isn't that good. How did she fall for Brother Guang? Xiong Jinka, this idiot actually learned to complain. Qin Guang slammed the table. You three snobbish huskies. Shut up. Old man, I'll let you know what it means to be treated differently after 3 days apart. Brother Guang, don't mess around. Do you think we don't know you? You can drag us down even when teaming up with the three of us who have 4,000 points. Goddess Wen said that playing games with you is called weight-bearing training. We understand you. Don't force yourself. It's not shameful to play badly. We're even envious of you for being so lousy. Otherwise, we'd have the chance to give Wen goddess weight-bearing training. Bai Nyangzi had a lot of theories when it came to attacking people. He said he was scolding people, but he was really envious of them. A person needs a face and a tree needs a bark. Although Qin Guang was thick-skinned, if he didn't prove something, he would be letting down the 3 months of hellish training in the world in the cup. Putting on his headphones, Qin Guang cut off the buzzing of the 3 flies. He focused all his attention on the game. Sigh, as a winner in life with a godly weapon, sometimes it's really lonely. Not only did he have to slap the faces of ugly villains like Pan Jiang, Dong Tao, or Zheng He, but now he couldn't even let his roommates go. A general's success is built on thousands of bones. My back is destined to be littered with corpses. Brothers, don't worry. After I slap your faces to death, I'll arrange your corpses beautifully. As usual, the mid lane would always belong to Wen, and Qin Guang was the ironclad support. In the past, he would try his best to choose a support with a higher tolerance for mistakes. For example, the Tide Hunter, which was hard to leave empty, or the Silencer, which had a full screen of skills. But this time he chose to use the extremely difficult Brother Mongrel, which was known in the Jianghu as one move to conquer the world. I used to tease you guys because I was afraid that you'd feel inferior. Today I'll show you what it means to be a one-trick pony. His actions caused the 3 bastards behind him to mock him mercilessly. In a game like Dota 2, there were at most 20 to 30 people out of 100 who could use pony. There were no more than 5 who could play it proficiently. Those who dared to call themselves pony were 1 in a million. Bai Nyangzi and the others didn't think that Qin Guang could control this extremely difficult hero. But seeing Qin Guang's confident expression, they stopped playing and sat behind Qin Guang, waiting to watch a good show. Game start. Wen's mid laner had always been steady and fierce. Although she played a shadow fiend with an off-the-charts taunt, when she reached level 3, she used triple destruction to send the opposing mid laner, Windrunner, back to the spring. As for Qin Guang's pony, it was still in the forest stocking up for Wen. The 3 animals had already started to ridicule him. I understand now. Your specialty is stocking up for mid-lane heroes, right? Strictly speaking, you're a very competent support. Lin Jingwei mocked mercilessly. Qin Guang didn't say a word and quietly moved closer to the middle lane. You're sharing your experience with me. Qin Guang, you bastard. Wen yelled angrily. Qin Guang, you bastard. Bai Nyangzi pinched his nose and mimicked Wen's sweet emphasis. He couldn't stop laughing. At this moment, 2 people rushed out from the shadows in the middle lane. The opponents opened up the fog to catch Wen. When they broke through the fog, both sides were already within range of their skills. Wen was dead meat. At this moment, Qin Guang's skill had already flown over. The two opponents who just broke through the fog were locked in place. It was as if he already knew that the opponents would appear from this position at this time. Because his flying skill required time. In fact, he had already kicked the green feces before the opponents broke through the fog and revealed themselves. Wenwen turned around and fired 2 shots. Just now, when he leached off Wenwen's experience, he was actually trying to get his second skill after leveling up to level 2. Qin Guang had just leveled up to level 2, but he had already activated his skill. He flew over and transformed into a boulder, crashing into the opponent's heroes. With the speed reduction effect, the two opponents' movements paused. Immediately after, Wenwen adjusted her position and fired the third shot. Big Porco, double kill. How the hell did you do it? Big question marks came from both inside and outside the earpiece. 15 seconds ago, the support in their advantageous lane disappeared. I knew they were coming. Their hero's initial movement speed is 305. I didn't buy any shoes. Our Shadow Fiend is about to level up to level 5. They're definitely going to make a move, so I prepared in advance. Qin Guang's tone was so calm that it could even be seen from water. However, his tone was filled with a strong sense of pretentiousness. The sound of people gasping could be heard. Be it Wenwen or Bai Nyangzi, the 3 animals, they were all shocked. Qin Guang smiled indifferently again. Don't worry, the show has just begun. Well, in fact, he was already laughing in his heart. Chapter 63. This game only lasted for 20 minutes. After Qin Guang helped Wenwen take down the first 2 kills, he quickly leveled up to level 4. He had more skills and was even more unreasonable when he showed off. In less than 20 minutes, he, a support cat who had not killed a single soldier, was already wearing secret magic shoes, holding a pushing stick in his left hand, a flashing dagger in his right, and a big magic bottle hanging on his waist. Oh, he also had a pair of real and fake eyes. The opponent's vision was suppressed, the mid lane was completely destroyed, and the top and bottom lanes were harassed by fat cats. 3 lanes collapsed, 3 lanes kneeled, the headcount ratio was 0 to 18, the economic gap was infinitely large, and they would die wherever they went. Snatching talismans drowned in the river. Fighting in the wilderness resulted in a loss of both players and money. In short, they could not play anymore. Finally, someone started to notice the opponent's ID, and then remembered the top 10 highlights that had shaken the entire Dota world these days. Qin Guang's opponents finally remembered the horror of being abused by this duo. The difference was that in the highlights, it was others who were abused, but now they were the ones being abused. If there were no accidents, today's match would be in the highlights again. Although they could be on TV, they could not feel happy at all. Sad. They were hung up and beaten by a god. When the opponent typed GG Wenwen by fan Lin Jingwei and Xiong Jinka all had a huge question mark in their hearts. Wenwen was the first to speak. Be honest, were you captured by aliens for research? This doesn't make sense. Last time you said it was a god's play, what is it this time? Qin Guang laughed. If I said it was also a god's play, would you believe me? Wenwen spat. Hee hee. See, you wouldn't believe me even if I told you. But I don't know how to explain this. Honestly, I must have had an epiphany at that time. You know what epiphany is? It's like those martial arts masters in novels. When they are fighting with others, they suddenly go on a mental journey, and all kinds of earth-shattering martial arts epiphanies appear spontaneously. It can't be stopped. After the epiphany, his entire person immediately transformed, his realm rose greatly, and his strength increased explosively. That's what happened to me at that time. That's right. I had an epiphany when I put the cup down after drinking the water for 5 seconds. Qin Guang told the truth. This was the truth. As for the 3 months of hellish training, it was just a small detail that did not require attention. From the surface, Qin Guang had transformed from a noob to a phoenix in 5 seconds. He had been reborn in the sea of stars of Dota. Really? You're amazing. I underestimated you. He could actually comprehend something like this. I was wondering what was going on with you that day. Don't worry, it'll be fine. You did have a momentary epiphany at that time, and then you improved too much in a short period of time. Your brain and body couldn't adapt, and that's why you felt nauseous. Your condition should be much better today, right? Wenwen actually believed it just like that. She even turned around and comforted Qin Guang, as if she was used to epiphanies and had a lot of experience. Qin Guang was stunned. Why didn't I know that you were such an innocent, cute, pure and adorable girl in the past? An epiphany that only appeared in wuxia novels, and she actually believed it so easily. Hey, where's your scientific spirit? Did all those years of reading books go to waste? Aren't you ashamed of your identity as a new era university student? Alright, no matter what, Wenwen was easily fooled. After she chatted for a while, Qin Guang logged out of the game. The other three also heard most of the conversation between him and Wenwen. Qin Guang then told them about how he and Wenwen made a comeback in the internet cafe. On the other side, Bai Nyangzi had already opened the highlights of that match. After comparing the two, everyone was finally convinced that it was indeed Qin Guang. Faster thief. You're really something. Lin Jingwei patted Qin Guang's shoulder heavily and made a gesture of worship. Brother, are you still accepting disciples? Bai Nyangzi had already shamelessly approached Qin Guang to be his disciple. He completely forgot that just 20 minutes ago he had used rather vicious words to mock Qin Guang. No wonder Goddess Wenwen favors you so much. She must have seen your potential, Brother Guang. Goddess, you're indeed a goddess. Xiong Jinke was such a simple-minded idiot. He always associated all good things with Wenwen. Even now that Qin Guang had become awesome, it was actually because of Wenwen's sharp eyes. In short, when you guys talk about games in front of me in the future, you'd better behave yourself. The old man is a genius that only appears once in 10,000 years. When he slaps someone's face, he doesn't even care about his own people. He even slaps his own people. Qin Guang laughed heartily. Looking at the little rascal's admiring and ashamed gazes, he felt a sour feeling in his heart. Brother Guang, let's play another round? Let us learn from you? Lin Jingwei and the others didn't want to play anymore, so they asked eagerly. Qin Guang chuckled. Forget it. Just now Wenwen said that if I dare to play a second round she'll kill me. I haven't lived long enough. Let's go. I need to go to the toilet. Pushing aside the few frogs at the bottom of the well who had never seen the world, Qin Guang got up and went straight to the toilet. As expected, he retched for a long time, making his stomach cramp. Leaning against the wall, Qin Guang walked out with a helpless expression. The after effects lasted longer than he had imagined. He heard that the prize money for this year's International Invitational Tournament was more than $1 million. If he could win it, his family's debt would be resolved. Sigh, the old man had the heart and the strength to kill the thief, but his physical condition didn't allow it. Of course, winning the championship wasn't something that could be achieved by one's own strength alone. After all, this was a team game. To stand at the top of the world, 5 teammates had to work together. Everyone had to be in their best condition and be at their strongest in order to stand out in the International Invitational Tournament where all the heroes gathered. Apart from that, the greatest charm of Dota 2 was that until the last moment, you would never know who would win and who would lose. Even if you had an absolute advantage in strength, you might not be able to win the game. Qin Guang didn't have the courage and guts to become a professional player under the intense aftereffects of the special hellish training. When he thought about money, he couldn't help but feel troubled again. He didn't plan on reneging on the 1 in a million that he had to give to Wu Tong. With that domineering policewoman's temperament, he didn't have the courage to renege on a debt. Who knew if the next time she came looking for him she would be a crazy tiger or a venomous snake? Poor me, I just got $50,000. I gave $40,000 to my dad first and I still have $10,000 left in my pocket. I thought that I didn't have to worry about anything and could live a comfortable life for a while, so I started to slack off these 2 days and didn't go to the sports car. In the end, before I could even warm up, I had to hand it over again. Even the $1,000 or so in the same card that was struggling at death's door could only be left with a fraction. Why was my life so bitter? Wouldn't I have to go to the sports car again? Chapter 64. Qin Guang was very unhappy the whole night. Although he had been slacking off a lot these days and had a lot of sports cars, the most important thing in life was to be happy. In life, the most important thing was to be in a good mood. Originally, sports cars had become something that could lighten one's mood, but now he had to do it for the sake of money. It was the same thing but in a different mood. That made him feel uncomfortable. Standing at the side of the stadium, Qin Guang felt bitter in his heart. He really couldn't be happy at all. He picked up the cup and drank some water. There was a tea leaf in his mouth, but he didn't spit it out immediately. Instead, he carefully took a few sips. When he left the dormitory this morning, Qin Guang very cleverly went to the grocery store to buy a cup cover and put the heavenly holy grail in it to prevent Lioli's bikini portrait from being exposed. It could be considered as saving his own face and protecting Liuli's body at the same time. It was really killing two birds with one stone. However, there was a small problem. Cup covers weren't commonly seen and usually not many guys would buy them. There weren't many in the grocery store, and even if there were, most of them were for girls. When Qin Guang went there were only 3 cup covers and they were all in the same format, pink Hello Kitty. God gave Qin Guang 3 choices, but all 3 were B's. Since it was his own decision, he had to accept it even with tears in his eyes. Thus, Qin Guang used the Hello Kitty cup cover without hesitation. What kind of experience would it be like for a pure man to hold a pink Hello Kitty cup cover and stand in the stadium and drink water? One could simply try to figure it out with the eyes of others. Everyone looked askance at him. This was going to blind people's dog eyes. Qin Guang's face was calm. This brother's might and handsomeness couldn't be hidden. Since that was the case, he might as well face life with a smile. A true warrior often had to live under the strange gazes of others. Don't be infatuated with this brother. This brother doesn't walk the ordinary path. A track and field competition was going on in the stadium. The reason Qin Guang came here was simple. Sun Xiaoxuan and Wenwen would both participate in the women's 100-meter sprint. Qin Guang's swimming competition was in the afternoon, so he came here to see what was going on. Beside him was Bai Nyangzi, while Lin Jingwei and Xiong Jinka had gone to participate in their respective competitions. On the way, Bai Nyangzi had complained about Qin Guang's pink mug cover at least 50 times, so his mouth was now taped up. Woo-woo. Woo-woo-woo-woo-woo. White Snake was really a guy with tenacious willpower. Even if his mouth was stained, he could still express his thoughts through his whimpers. As he whimpered, he pointed at Qin Guang's cup with a weird smile. He understood the principle of, if you don't court death, you won't get. Brother Guang. Your condoms are so cute. Qin Guang rolled his eyes. Get lost. I'll stuff your nose too if you keep talking nonsense. Faster, thief. Even his nose is blocked. Are you even human? Bai Nyangzi finally stopped. On the other side, the women's 100-meter sprint had entered the preparation stage. Sun Xiaoxuan and Wenwen were doing their own warm-ups in different areas. Sun Xiaoxuan actually knew Wenwen. After all, the campus belle of Wen University was quite famous. She had also waited for Qin Guang outside the classroom several times. For today's sprint competition, Wen University's campus belle wore a skin-tight sports singlet and a pair of elastic shorts that covered her knees. Although this way of dressing prevented all the possibility of being exposed, it also showed off her slender and beautiful figure. Even though she had deliberately kept a low profile, she still became the focus of the scene. As for Sun Xiaoxuan, the sprinting equipment she had chosen was relatively loose, so her figure was not obvious. Moreover, she was a little short, so she was drowned in the crowd. Only a few sharp-eyed people saw her and exclaimed, "Ah, look at that girl. She looks so pure." Qin Guang was well aware of Wenwen's ability. He was 100% sure that as long as she wanted to win the championship, no one would be her match. Therefore, Qin Guang was not worried about the campus belle at all. Instead, he was more concerned about Sun Xiaoxuan's condition. She had been drugged last night, so he did not know how she was recovering today. She would not faint halfway through the race, right? Sun Xiaoxuan's movements seemed a little stiff when she did her warm-up, so he could not help but worry about her. On the other side, the teacher responsible for arranging the groups for the preliminaries had already started calling people with the name list. Qin Guang began to put his hands together and pray. Bai Nyangzi, who was next to him, finally pulled off the tape on his face. Brother Guang, you must be praying that the class rep and the campus belle won't be in the same group, right? Do you have the ability to read minds? Bai Nyangzi had hit the nail on the head on Qin Guang's head, but how could he admit it? Stop it. What does it matter if they're in the same group? I don't have anything to do with the two of them. I might be charming, but you can't possibly think that the two of them like me, right? Qin Guang spoke calmly, but his trembling hands revealed the uneasiness in his heart. The class rep most likely won't be able to escape. But the campus belle probably doesn't like you. You two are basically bros. Although I haven't spoken to the campus belle many times, I can tell that we're the same type of person. Bai Nyangzi vowed solemnly. But what do you mean we're the same type of person? You're a sissy and Wenwen is a tomboy. Okay, in a broad sense, the two of them are really different. They're the same type. Tomboys definitely can't like men. Something's wrong. Damn it, It seems like Bai Nyangzi is publicly admitting that his sexual orientation is incorrect. Is he hinting that he doesn't like women but men? Why is he hinting at me? Does he have feelings for me? Qin Guang's phone rang and Bai Nyangzi's bitter voice came through. I say, Brother Guang, how can you quietly move 50 meters away while thinking about things in your heart? I think you're only the size of a sesame seed. It's okay, I can see better from here. It's cool and clear. Qin Guang stood at the entrance of the stadium and waved at Bai Nyangzi from afar. Are you suspecting that I like men? I'm going to strangle you. Bai Nyangzi finally realized that something was wrong. No, nothing of the sort. Qin Guang had already run to the other side of the stadium, facing Bai Nyangzi from afar. We're all brothers, so don't get too excited. We'll each take one side and we'll surround all the beauties in the stadium. We'll catch them all in one go. F***CKU. Qin Guang joked with Bai Nyangzi while paying attention to the groups below. What he was afraid of had really happened. Wenwen and Sun Xiaoxun were actually in the same group. He didn't know when the two of them had actually gathered together and they were talking and laughing with each other. He didn't know what they were talking about. For a moment, Qin Guang's heart was itching, but he didn't have clairaudience. The stadium was noisy and he had to shout to speak from a distance of 2 meters, so how could he hear them clearly? He didn't know why, but looking at the sweet smile on their faces, Qin Guang was a little flustered. Chapter 65. No one knew what Wenwen and Sun Xiaoxun talked about. They didn't talk for long and the sprint began soon. Sun Xiaoxun seemed to be a bit angry. She was obviously not in a good state. After all, she had just drugged her last night. But she still stood in front of the starting point with a firm face, gritting her teeth and a firm look in her eyes. It was really strange to see such an expression on the face of a girl from Jiangnan, who was supposed to be as calm as water. On the other side, Wenwen, who was 3 tracks away from Sun Xiaoxun, looked calm. She just stretched her body from time to time, revealing the explosive power hidden in her beautiful body. No matter how you looked at it, the champion of Wenwen and Sun Xiaoxun's group would definitely be Wenwen. The others couldn't be considered a threat at all. Qin Guang, who was hiding in the crowd, shrunk his neck. He didn't know why, but he felt that Wenwen and Sun Xiaoxun, who were 3 tracks away, were full of murderous intent and turbulent undercurrents. With the sound of the starting gun, everyone started running at full speed. Without any suspense, Wenwen had the absolute advantage from the beginning and took the lead. To everyone's surprise, Sun Xiaoxun was not far behind Wenwen, firmly occupying the second place. Her gymnastics training wasn't for nothing. But for some reason Qin Guang felt that something was amiss about this matter. Wenwen ran with ease, but Sun Xiaoxun risked his life to catch her. Finally, Wenwen and Sun Xiaoxun crossed the finish line one after another. Wenwen slowed down slowly, but Sun Xiaoxun fell to the ground in an ugly posture. He rolled around for a while before he managed to stabilize his body. Qin Guang was worried and wanted to rush over to help, but Wenwen had already helped Sun Xiaoxun up. Sun Xiaoxun's footsteps looked very weak, and she almost couldn't stand steadily. She had indeed used all her strength to run like this under the aftereffects of the drug. But even so, she still pushed away Wenwen's hand and moved to the side to hold the fence, gasping for breath. Then she turned her head to look at Wenwen and said something. Qin Guang was too far away and he didn't know how to read lips, so he could only watch anxiously. When Wenwen heard this, a meaningful smile blossomed on her face. No one knew what she said to Sun Xiaoxun, but she immediately turned around and left. Qin Guang was going to help Sun Xiaoxun, but Gaoya was already there. She supported Sun Xiaoxun and waved her fist at the back of Wenwen, who was leaving without looking back as if to demonstrate her power. Thus, Qin Guang wisely decided to flee. Although he didn't do anything wrong and didn't do anything, the intense smell of gunpowder definitely had something to do with him, no matter how he looked at it. If the old man wasn't being narcissistic, there wouldn't be any suspense at all. Otherwise, why would Sun Xiaoxun and Wenwen, 2 people who had nothing to do with each other, get into a conflict like this? That's right. They must be fighting over him. The old man had this kind of charm. But what did they talk about just now? Qin Guang really wanted to know. But subconsciously he told himself that he couldn't ask. If he didn't ask, everything would remain the same. But there were some things and some words that he couldn't say out loud. Forget it, I'll pretend I didn't see anything. Quietly hiding in the crowd, Qin Guang slipped out of the stadium. On the other side, Bai Nyangzi called. He was howling over the phone. Hey, brother Guang. Where did you go? The class leader is about to collapse. Come and help. Qin Guang chuckled. Aren't you and Gaoya here? I have something urgent to attend to, so I have to go. Hey, how would I dare to help my sister-in-law? If this happened in ancient times, I'd be drowned in a pig cage. Bai Nyangzi really wanted to see the world in chaos. Qin Guang spat. F***ck off. Who asked you to help her? Gaoya will be fine, right? You just have to watch from the side and call me if there's an emergency. Oh yeah, if there's a chance, help me ask what Sun Xiaoxuan and Wenwen said just now. Why do my words sound wrong? Shouldn't I refute what his sister-in-law said first? On the other end of the line, Bai Nyangzi looked like he understood. I get it. She's the campus belle of Wen University after all. What do you know? Qin Guang cursed inwardly. Bai Nyangzi chuckled. Brother Guang, you don't have to say any more. I understand men's thoughts. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Don't worry. Why should I worry? What's your mission? Qin Guang quickly asked. On the other end, Bai Nyangzi had already hung up. Qin Guang suddenly felt that it was a complete mistake to let Bai Nyangzi be a spy. Forget it. Since things have come to this, I don't care anymore. I don't have the time to play any tricks to please both sides, especially when one of them is a real brother, Wenwen. I don't have such a heavy taste, but she's a tomboy. The old man had no desires. Just imagining himself dating Wenwen and seeing her act like a couple, he had goosebumps all over his body. What the old man was most worried about now was money. Qin Guang squeezed the bank card in his wallet bitterly. His heart ached when he thought about how he was about to have a slimming operation. Just then his cell phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was an unknown number. A man's sixth sense came into play. Without a doubt it must be Wu Tong. He had registered her number yesterday. Now that she was calling, it was most likely to be a debt collector. As expected, he picked up the call. Hello Qin Guang, are you in school now? I'm Wu Tong. I'm looking for you in school. Sorry, the number you have dialed is unavailable. Please try again later. Can you not be childish? Can't you at least act a little more realistic? Your phone's operator is unavailable. Are you trying to call me later? Wu Tong expressed her disdain to him. Qin Guang pinched his thigh. Tell me, why are you looking for me? I just went to Xianxia with my tutor for a scientific investigation. You know Xianxia, right? It's the place where savages roar through the mountains and plains. You can even see tigers from time to time. I'm very busy. If there's anything, can you wait until I come back? What's the matter? Have you forgotten that you still haven't paid the 10,000 yuan fine? Yesterday when I helped you with the procedures, I used my own money to pay for it. You have to pay me back, right? You can't possibly renege on the police's money, right? That's right. Wu Tong, who had fallen in love yesterday, did not take this matter seriously. She simply used her own money to pay for it. Today she really wanted to look for Qin Guang. She could use this matter as an excuse. Actually, she wasn't bothered about the money, but she wanted to use this as an excuse to meet with Qin Guang again. Last night's incident was too bizarre and she couldn't understand it. So she wouldn't feel uneasy if she didn't confirm the situation. She could not face herself like that. Hehe. Qin Guang was amused. If that was the case, then don't blame the old man for being ruthless. When the old man became shameless, even he was afraid. Chapter 66. There's actually such a good thing. The money should be paid by him. No matter how unwilling Qin Guang was, he wouldn't renege on his debt. But since you've already paid for me and I didn't write you an IOU, and you're such a hateful person, how can I return the money to you so easily? Even if I drag it out for 10 days to half a month to disgust you, I'll still save the money in some bank and earn a few dozen yuan in interest. Ah. It's decided then. Wu Tong really overestimated Qin Guang. She didn't care about money, but Qin Guang cared about money. Okay, Officer Wu, I'll definitely return the money later. But I really can't come back these 2 days. Oh, there's a cave in front. My tutor went in first. I can't talk to you now. I have to follow and see the situation. Don't worry, how could I renege on my debt? I wouldn't dare even if I had 10,000 guts. When I come back, I promise I'll return the money to you. Okay, I'm afraid it's not safe for the tutor to be alone in the cave. I'll hang up first, I'll call you later. Clatter. After saying that, Qin Guang really hung up. What you want is pure love, what I want is only interest. As the saying goes, summer insects cannot talk about ice. This is the logic. Qin Guang whistled happily, ran to the cafeteria alone and rubbed himself a fat meal. Then he took his swimming suit and hid in a corner of the school, quietly waiting for the afternoon competition. There was still a follow-up competition in the afternoon, so Sun Xiaoxuan definitely wouldn't be able to come and see him. Qin Guang felt that this was also a good thing. He could quietly swim through this round before running to his car. He was lacking money. In the middle, Sun Xiaoxuan gave him a call. Hey, class monitor, I watched your race in the gym today, you ran well. But then I was in a hurry so I left early so I didn't come over to say hello. By the way, your body hasn't recovered yet, don't work so hard in the afternoon, okay? The most important thing is to participate. It wouldn't be good if you accidentally hurt yourself. As soon as the phone was connected, Qin Guang said in one breath. He didn't ask what Wenwen said to her. He was deliberately avoiding it. On the other side of the phone, Sun Xiaoxuan also grunted. Bai Fan told me everything. Don't worry, I'm just a little unconvinced this morning. I don't want to admit defeat. On the other end of the phone, Qin Guang raised his eyebrows. From the girl's words, he heard something different. It seemed that Sun Xiaoxuan had changed. In the past, she was always so gentle and quiet, a standard Jiangnan girl. Even if Pan Jiang tried to drug her, when she mentioned Pan Jiang again, she would not show that kind of hatred. She would only treat Pan Jiang as a stranger. But today, such a simple sentence conveyed a strong message to Qin Guang. She was still the same person, but she had found a goal that could change her personality. In order to achieve this goal, she didn't hesitate to change herself from an introverted and reserved girl to a strong and unyielding woman. What did Wenwen say to you? In the end, Qin Guang didn't dare to ask directly, although that's true, but I know what you mean. Don't worry, I get it. Sprinting is not my strength, so why should I fight in a field where someone is better than me? It's not wise to attack the opponent's strong point with my weak point. Besides, I lost in the end. But I didn't think I had to win, I just didn't want her to look down on me. Sun Xiaoxuan said a few more words, then said, you have to do your best in the swimming competition in the afternoon. I can't come, but you still have to win. Then she hung up the phone. Qin Guang couldn't take it anymore, so he quickly called Wenwen. I say, Miss Wen, what did you say to Sun Xiaoxuan today? There's nothing between me and her, all right? Qin Guang said ferociously as he continued, don't try anything weird with me. What do you mean by two girls fighting for a husband? That doesn't fit the old man's style. Pfft. Wenwen, who was on the other end of the phone, couldn't help but laugh. I didn't say anything to her. I just said that Qin Guang often mentioned you to me, saying that you helped him a lot in class. That's all. What the f***ck? What do you mean I often mentioned her to you? That's a groundless thing, okay? Qin Guang vomited blood. Wenwen laughed. What else could I say? I'm your bro and she's your class monitor. We're at least acquaintances, so you can't just say hello when you see her, right? Isn't that too distant? But she's acting so weird now. I'm a little panicked. Isn't it easy to misunderstand what you said? Qin Guang said. Wenwen laughed. Bro, I'm helping you. You've been single for 3 years and in another year you'll be kicked out of school. I know that I'm a beautiful lady and I've raised your aesthetic standards, making you picky. As your best friend, I feel very ashamed and remorseful. It's my fault for being too beautiful. I think this Sun Xiaoxuan is not bad and she's also very beautiful. If I can really get you two together because of this, won't you thank me? That makes sense. Qin Guang was left speechless. He felt that Wenwen definitely didn't say everything, but he knew that it was pointless for him to ask again. He was like this. If she was willing to tell you, she would tell you from the beginning. If she didn't want to say it, you wouldn't be able to hear it even if you held a knife to your neck. Wenwen looked at her watch. Okay, your competition is about to start, so don't talk nonsense with me. You've been playing games, competing in swimming and going to the police station for the past few days. Don't forget what you have to do. The CET4 exam is only 2 weeks away. If you fail again, your degree will be gone. This lady's blood-vomiting boob bounty is also going to be ruined. How does she know I'm in the police station? Qin Guang's heart skipped a beat, but before he could ask again, the woman hung up the phone. I've had enough. Why do you always only say half of what you want to say? Isn't this torturing me? Class rep son, oh class rep son, why are you so naive? Didn't you notice the nature of Wenwen, this tomboy? A normal man can like anyone, but he can't like her. At most, we can only be considered as gay. What kind of jealousy are you eating? Is there a need to give me a nirvana rebirth metamorphosis? Qin Guang fiercely hung up the phone. He didn't realize that the reason why he could change Sun Xiaoxuan's mentality was because Wenwen deliberately made Sun Xiaoxuan feel like a love rival. However, if Sun Xiaoxuan's feelings weren't so firm, then this love rival identity wouldn't be established. At this moment he completely forgot that less than an hour ago, there was still police officer Wu Tong who loved him to death last night, and today became his creditor who was also hung up by him. Chapter 67. Come to think of it, Wenwen's big sale. Hee, I'm looking forward to it. At that time, all I need to do is cover her face with a piece of paper. She should forget the cruel truth that I'm a tomboy and enjoy my exclusive benefits wholeheartedly, right? That's right, I have to cover my face. Otherwise, I won't be able to stand it. With this in mind, Qin Guang dived into the pool in a daze. Without any suspense, those who were unfortunately placed in the same group as him in the second round of the preliminaries once again fell under his tight-fitting pomegranate swimming trunks. Dong Tao might have used his connections to avoid Qin Guang in the second round of the preliminaries. However, Qin Guang had also grasped a little about the way to enter the water. Without slapping the water with his palms, his speed had increased. Even if Dong Tao was given another chance, he wouldn't end up any better. After leaving him in the dust, it was time for him to enjoy the passionate pursuit of the people in the swimming complex. After yesterday's incident, Torpedo Light had become a celebrity in the school's swimming circle, a typical representative of the masters among the people. The number of fans he had also increased from 0 to many. It was a qualitative change. Qin Guang had just taken a shower and was walking out of the changing room in casual clothes. He bumped into Coach Qin. Student Qin Guang. Please wait. Coach Qin still didn't give up. Coach Qin. Look over there. It's going to fall. It's going to hit someone. Qin Guang squatted down and suddenly pointed at the ceiling of the swimming complex, his face full of horror. Coach Qin's heart skipped a beat. He quickly turned his head and looked in the direction Qin Guang was pointing at. Strange, there was nothing there. When he turned his head again, Qin Guang had already slipped away. As he ran, he wiped his tears at the girls waiting for him at the door. Cute little girls, it's not that I don't want to stay and talk philosophy with you, it's just that the conditions don't allow me to. If I had the chance, I would like to exchange numbers with each of you, have dinner with you, sing karaoke and have some fun. But I can't. Coach Qin was too clingy. Damn Coach Qin. Damn Coach Qin. With a monstrous hatred for Qin Yuanhua, Qin Guang ran out of the swimming complex with tears and snot, and went straight to the parking lot. My brother Qin Guang is going to make a comeback? He happily drove out of the school. Although he felt a little lonely and cold when he thought that he would soon become a pauper again, there was a high chance that he would not be satisfied in this world. Since the money was gone, he could earn it again. Nothing could stop him from living happily. At least he was much happier than Pan Jiang, who was treating eggs in the hospital, right? That afternoon Qin Guang of it. Of Coach Qin Guang. Qin of it. Qin Guan of 222 of 2222 of Zhou. Of Qin of 2 and he. Qin of Goof car of 2444. He parked the car on the side of the road and calculated for a while. Deducting the cost of the gas, he could earn a net profit of nearly 200 yuan. Just thinking about it made him feel good. He swallowed his saliva and muttered to himself. He had one last regret today. The girl from Dechuan Conservatory of Music that he had just pulled was very pretty. He had been chatting along the way and he could have asked for her phone number. Unfortunately, he was thirsty and wanted to drink water. She accidentally noticed his Hello Kitty cup cover. Well, this time it was all for naught. The other party thought that he was a little pink and immediately lost the mood to talk. Now that he thought about it, his heart was throbbing in pain. The scumbags in the Louting Network's drivers group were bragging about how they could pull beautiful girls to bed from time to time when they pulled for customers. Why was the old man young, handsome, humorous and witty? He had been driving for more than half a year. How could he still get a 0? There was no reason. Oh, that's right. Those scumbags all drove BMWs. His Hyundai was borrowed. If a worker wanted to do a good job, he must first sharpen his tools. When will I be able to be like everyone else, driving a Panamera and paging a car on the internet? With a trace of melancholy and a trace of resentment, Qin Guang started the car and prepared to go back to school. How could he have known that someone had driven him to the brink of collapse during this entire day? That's right, that person was Wu Tong. The dignified Wenqing branch's domineering police beauty, Wu Tong, who had beaten everyone in Wujing City's police force, had actually been defeated by a third-year boy. How could she tolerate this? Last night she had inexplicably become infatuated with him. That was a huge grudge. Not being able to lock him up for 15 days was the second biggest grudge. In addition, she had been away from home for almost 3 months. She had been living frugally. Even her skincare products had been bought from the sparrow antelope. The 10,000 yuan that she had saved with great difficulty had all been used up. How dare you go back on your words? You even made up some nonsense about Xianxia? This was the third biggest grudge. Xianxia, right? Cave, right? Savage, right? Aren't you just in Wujing City? I'll beat you until you turn into a savage. Wu Tong was furious because of the additional enmity. After using a lot of connections, she finally obtained the online monitoring rights of Qin Guang's phone. Then she took half a day off from the police station and drove off with her teeth clenched. When it came to using connections, once a precedent was set, it was like a crack in a dam. It would not be easy to stop it. With the anger of a girl who had been hurt by love and the persistence of a creditor, Wu Tong today was even fiercer than a tigress. She was probably at the level of Wu Song, who had killed a tiger. Qin Guang's location would be sent to her phone every 10 minutes. Usually, this was a technical method used to deal with a heavyweight fugitive suspect. It was not easy for Wu Tong to get it. When she first received his location, Qin Guang was still in Gokyo University. Wu Tong thought it would be a piece of cake to catch him, but she did not expect that this was just the beginning of her nightmare. 10 minutes later, when she drove to the entrance of Gokyo University, Qin Guang had already run to Daijian Road outside Wenqing town. Another 10 minutes later, Wu Tong finally reached Daijian Road, but Qin Guang had already entered Wujing City's third ring road. Ah! I'm going to strangle you to death, you bastard! Wu Tong roared as she started the car and continued to chase after him. An hour later, Wu Tong began to doubt her life. She even called the Municipal Bureau's information department and questioned their professionalism. She even suspected that her connections were not good enough, and she was deliberately tricked by the information department. Otherwise, how could she explain why he appeared in a completely different location every time? The people from the information department repeatedly said that there was no problem with the location system. Since they had agreed to this, they would not deliberately trick you. They guaranteed that the location data they provided was not false. For this to happen, it could only mean that the other party was indeed in constant motion. Wu Tong felt that her whole body was not good. Are you a perpetual motion machine or something? Once you stop, your heart will stop beating? Will you die? Another 2 hours passed and Wu Tong's car ran out of gas and the engine stalled halfway. She stopped the car by the side of the road, her face ashen and covered in dust. For the whole day, Wu Tong was so afraid of losing him that she did not even notice the warning light of the fuel tank. Great, now it actually stopped. It was just tracking a student. Why was it more difficult than tracking an international criminal? You bastard, even if you knew I was going to chase you for a debt, you didn't have to run from the south of the city to the east of the city, then from the east to the west, then from the west to the north of the city around the second ring road, then directly to the newly built East Railway Station, and then I can't take it anymore. You're just a student, but your anti-tracking ability is out of this world. I choose to die. In the end, Wu Tong had no choice but to call Wang Long for help and get him to send a barrel of oil over. In the process, she even tearfully complained about Qin Guang's wandering around the entire day and expressed her doubts about his identity as a student. There was no reason for a normal student to run so many places in a day. This guy must be a spy from the enemy country. I have to catch him and interrogate him. Wang Long only used one sentence to make Wu Tong speechless. Wang Long said, "Since he's a student, he'll have to go back to school sooner or later. Why are you chasing him all over the city? He can't just not stop for the rest of his life, can he?" Wu Tong wanted to strangle herself. Chapter 68. At 10:30 at night, Qin Guang drove leisurely back to school, summarizing his gains and losses for the day in his heart. From time to time he would recite the golden rule of doing business, or else he would wail like a ghost and howl like a wolf. In order to deal with the elusive Emperor of the Azure and the heavenly Holy Grail, Qin Guang was really tired. He felt extremely helpless about this. As the owner of a Goldfinger, he did not feel the thrill of being able to save the world and dominate the world by lying down. This simple life was more tiring than being a villain, and he could not even relax his mind. If he was not careful, he would fall into a trap. Wu Tong parked her car outside Gokyo University and stared at the intersection. If one wanted to drive into Gokyo University from the outside, this intersection was the only way. She planned to block people here. However, there was something that she was particularly concerned about. It seemed that she was not the only one who had this plan. On the other side of the intersection, there were 2 vans parked in the forest beside the road. From time to time, there were people peeking at the intersection from that direction. With Wu Tong's professional eyes, she could tell at a glance that this group of people was a little sneaky. She did not take it seriously. If they were really planning to do something illegal, she could make a contribution today. The Wenxing branch was only a few minutes' drive away from here. If the situation was not good, she could send out an internal distress signal, and her colleagues would be able to arrive in 10 minutes at the latest. The other party had obviously seen Wu Tong, but they did not take her seriously. At this time, Wu Tong was wearing casual clothes and driving her own private off-road vehicle instead of a police car. No matter how one looked at her, no one would think that she was a police officer. They would only think that she was a delicate beauty. Wu Tong's phone rang. She picked it up and looked at it. She immediately sat up straight and her expression became more focused. The GPS showed that Qin Guang's current location was less than 5 minutes' drive away from here. About 20 minutes ago, he began to approach the direction of Gokyo University from the city. He was going back to school. Wu Tong began to observe the situation at the intersection. At the same time, she was also thinking about how to safely stop Qin Guang later. After all, the purpose of her visit this time was to beat up Qin Guang and turn him into a savage. Otherwise, Wu Tong would directly go to school and wait for him. It's better to beat people up outside the school. Although I'm a public servant, I still have to pay attention to my image. Lights shone from the intersection from afar. Calculating the time, it was about time for Qin Guang's car to arrive. Wu Tong had already opened the door and got out of the car. She was about to reach out her hand to stop the car. At this moment, the group of people on the other side of the intersection suddenly became active. A person was talking on the phone while getting out of the car and shouting something. 2 people who were originally standing on the side of the road heard the person shouting and suddenly grabbed 2 palm-sized rocks from the roadside. Wu Tong's heart went cold. Could it be that these people were also here to stop Qin Guang? Not only did they have people guarding here, but they also had spies at the intersection ahead. They came prepared. Wu Tong couldn't hear what the people on the other side were shouting. The only thing she could be sure of was that this group of people was really here to stop Qin Guang. At this moment, the lights on the other side became brighter and brighter. Qin Guang's car was coming. Qin Guang didn't know that there was a group of people waiting for him in front of him. As usual, when he turned the corner, he slightly braked, slowed down and prepared to turn right. This place had a speed limit of 40 kilometers per hour. There was a huge pit and there was a surveillance camera just around the corner. If one wasn't an experienced driver, it would be very easy to be tricked here. Every time he passed by this place, old driver Chen would feel very accomplished. He would look up proudly and look at the surveillance camera with a rather disdainful gaze. Trying to trick me? No way. However, things were a little different today. 2 people suddenly ran over from the opposite side of the road. It was very sudden and strange. Behind these 2 people were about 12 or 13 people and they were very aggressive. When he took a closer look, he saw that the 2 people running at the front had their right hands raised flat on their shoulders, and in their palms, they were holding a big orange rock. The other party was clearly coming for him. F***CK. Just as Qin Guang cursed, the 2 people made their move. With a wave of their hands, the rock in their hands flew out, heading towards his front windshield. Although he didn't know where the other party came from, he could only take it. He slammed on the brakes. Before the car came to a stop, one of the 2 rocks had already hit the front windshield. Bang! Even tempered glass could not withstand such a powerful rock, let alone a direct hit. The glass cracked and caved in. Cracks like a spider web spread from the top of the glass to the bottom, from the left to the right, accompanied by the creaking sound of ice breaking. The shape of the cracks was regular, like a meticulously carved work of art. If this wasn't his car, Qin Guang would definitely sigh in his heart. This King rock was thrown with such a high standard. It was the reincarnation of Van Gogh. The other rock hit the hood of the car with a loud bang and left a large dent. That wasn't the end. After the two people threw the rock, they moved to the side. From the group of people behind them, more than 10 eggs flew over. Even if these people didn't throw very accurately, only 3 eggs hit the front windshield. The egg whites and yolks almost blocked the driver's vision. It was useless to use the windshield wiper. It would only make the wiper more messy. The other party acted quickly and premeditatedly. They didn't want him to drive away. The car finally came to a dead stop. Half of the car was pressed against the roadside. Qin Guang's heart ached for the big dent on his windshield and hood as he opened the door and got out. The other party had a lot of people and they were coming at him aggressively. The car's vision was completely blocked and he couldn't drive anymore. Of course, he had to get out of the car as soon as possible. He couldn't let himself be trapped in the car. He reached into his pocket and took out his baton. With a bang, the baton was pulled straight. Qin Guang stood in front of the car with the baton. "Tell me, who are you people? What do you want from me? Draw a line." As he spoke, Qin Guang was also sizing up the other party's clothes and behavior. His left hand was still in his pocket. It looked like he was pretending, but he was actually calling the police. There were about 14 people on the other side. Some of them had machetes in their hands while others had iron rods. Some of them had dyed their hair while others had shaved their heads. Some of them had tattoos on their shoulders, while others had tattoos that covered half of their faces. Most of them were wearing black vests and the two walking at the back were wearing shirts. Basically, as long as one wasn't stupid, they could tell that these people weren't decent people. Maybe they were gangsters or something. Compared to this group of people, Qin Guang felt that Wu Tong was actually quite cute. As his imagination ran wild, he looked at his car and felt pain in his heart. The front windshield was 800, and the dent on the hood was at least 700 to 800. That was another 1,000 yuan gone. Annoying. "What are you doing? Stop." At this moment, a strong figure moved from an off-road vehicle about 50 meters in front of them. He dashed over and shouted. Qin Guang's heart skipped a beat. "I haven't even made the call yet and you're already here. Are you Chow Chow?" "That's right, it's Wu Tong." Things happened too fast and the group of people acted too decisively. Wu Tong didn't even have time to stop them before Qin Guang's car was violently intercepted. But she absolutely wouldn't allow the two sides to fight in front of her. "Do you think I don't exist?" Chapter 69. Seeing Wu Tong yelling and running closer and closer, Qin Guang felt rather conflicted. On the one hand, he was afraid of this creditor. As a man in debt, when he saw his creditor, he basically felt like a mouse seeing a cat, naturally inferior. On the other hand, he considered her identity. After all, she was a police officer. She came so quickly, and if she kept an eye on him, it wouldn't be good for him to hit her too hard. If he hit her in front of her, the scene would be too bloody and violent and he would seriously injure her. This woman could change from a comrade to an enemy at any time. It was unreasonable for her to put him in jail for 15 days at any time. Today wasn't like yesterday. Last night, she was controlled by her emotions once and turned Luli into a hot girl in a bikini. If it happened again, the dignified empress would probably be naked. Even if Qin Guang agreed to it, Luli wouldn't agree to it. However, the other party had a lot of people after all. If he didn't hit her hard, if he really took a knife, he would be in serious trouble. "Why don't you show your police officer badge, or you can take out your gun to scare them?" Zhao Yi thought. "Or should I abandon the car and run away first? How about I leave this big scene to you, a public servant of the people?" Qin Guang had this idea. If it wasn't Wu Tong but some other male police officer, he wouldn't hesitate to run away. But looking at the dozen or so people on the other side, he thought that if he ran away with Wu Tong's temperament, she would definitely fight them head-on. If she really didn't bring a gun and fell into the hands of such a group of gangsters and bandits, she might be in big trouble. Before she became a police officer, she was even more of a delicate woman. God knows what would happen in the end. After all, the other party had come for her, and she would also suffer an undeserved disaster. Qin Guang prided himself on being a man. He couldn't do such a despicable thing. Well, it seemed that he was going to fight alongside her today. "Little girl, you like to meddle in other people's business? It's none of your business here." You'd better get lost. Otherwise, after we cripple this brat, we don't mind dragging you back to have some fun. We have more than 10 people here. I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. The one who spoke was one of the two men in shirts. He had short hair and a long scar on his face that stretched from the corner of his eye to his chin. His expression was ferocious. His entire face was raised and the tip of his chin was at a 45-degree angle. As he opened his mouth to speak, the scar on his face stretched diagonally, looking longer than it actually was. As he opened and closed his mouth, it squirmed like a caterpillar, looking particularly eerie and terrifying. This was Brother Knife Scar's signature provocative pose after roaming the Jianghu for many years. It was extremely domineering. Needless to say, everyone in the underworld knew that when Brother Scar made such a gesture, it meant that he was about to flip out and someone was going to be unlucky. The other man in the shirt also took a step forward and stood side by side with Brother Scar. He was the one who had made the phone call when they were fighting. People in Jianghu called him Glasses Wu. Together with Brother Scar, they were big brothers in the area around Gokyo University. Brother Scar was in charge of punching and kicking, while Glasses Wu was in charge of scheming. The two of them cooperated with each other and in the past 2 years they had been doing very well. Little girl, as a person it's most important to be happy. You have a sense of justice but you also have to see what you can get involved in and what you can't. Look at you, you look like a lady from a wealthy family. At such a young age you can drive a Wrangler that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your family must be rich, right? The young miss of a rich family was very precious. Don't get involved in our trivial matters. Today I, your brother, make the decision. You leave immediately and we'll pretend that we didn't hear or see anything. You're not a police officer, so why do you care so much? Glasses Wu was indeed different. His words were very pleasant to listen to. If it wasn't Wu Tong here today she would have been persuaded by him. Unfortunately Wu Tong was really a police officer. Moreover, she was a police officer with a strong sense of justice. Wu Tong had only been in the Wenqing town branch for less than 3 months. Brother Scar and Eyeglasses Wu often visited each other at the dock, so they knew every single person in the Wenqing town branch like the back of their hands. However, Wu Tong was a newcomer so they didn't recognize her. Then I'm really sorry. Wu Tong's face turned serious. She was already standing next to Qin Guang who was holding a baton. She coldly looked at Brother Scar and the others. You don't say. I don't care what you say today. This matter, I'm going to take care of it today. Oh. I gave you face but you don't want it? Do you really think we're made of mud? I've been paid to get rid of this disaster. Today I'm going to cut off this brat Qin Guang's shoulders and break his balls. Since you don't know what's good for you and want to interfere, then I'll chop off your legs too. Brother Scar was never a kind person. Seeing Wu Tong didn't know what's good for her, he waved his hand and ordered his men to step forward. Qin Guang popped his head out from Wu Tong's side. Wu, brat, this is none of your business. Everything is clear. In broad daylight. You actually dare to hire a hitman to hurt someone right under my nose. I can't tolerate this. Before Qin Guang could finish his words, Wu Tong's blood boiled and boiled. It's night time now. Qin Guang quietly said. Wu Tong rolled her eyes. AI. These people are here to cause trouble for you. I'm here to help you. Can you not ridicule me and ruin my momentum at this time? Are you friend or foe? You still have the mood to ridicule? Go. Beat that Qin guy up first. I'll take care of that girl alone. Brother Scar walked forward while cracking his knuckles. The muscles on his shoulders bounced up and down, full of vigor. The other lackeys who had rushed to the front rushed forward, especially the two men in tank tops who had thrown stones at the car. They were clearly the ones in charge of the group. One of them wielded a machete while the other held a steel baseball bat and rushed forward. Qin Guang knew that things couldn't go well. His right hand grabbed the baseball bat and planned to pass by Wu Tong to stand in front. It was easy to deal with the others, but these two were the ones who damaged his car the most. It was a life-and-death feud. Just as he took a step forward, Wu Tong, who was beside him, shouted in surprise, Yo, you're not bad, kid. You have a controlled knife with you? Give it to me to use. Just as Wu Tong said that, Qin Guang's armpit was attacked from behind. Under the pain, he loosened his grip on the baseball bat and the weapon was taken by Wu Tong. It's hard to defend against a teammate. Qin Guang never thought that Wu Tong as a teammate would try to take the weapon in his hand. She really did it. In the next second, Wu Tong had already started fighting with the two people in front. Her title as the female overlord of Wu Jing City's police force wasn't just for show. With two clang-clang sounds, Wu Tong, one on the left and one on the right, knocked the items out of the hands of the two men in front of her. Then with two lightning-fast flying kicks, one aimed at the abdomen, the other at the side of the head. The two men screamed and fell to the side. They finally started fighting. Without the weapon in his hand, Qin Guang couldn't be afraid. "I'm the second officer of the An Royal. I'll go too. Why would I be afraid of you small fries? Let me lend you a hand." As he shouted, Qin Guang thought of the lines that he often saw on TV when generals fought. The third side general would often shout out the lines, and his tone was even deliberately imitating the tone of his lines. What was a professional actor? This was a professional. He wouldn't give the heavenly Holy Grail any chance. Chapter 70. Get out of the way. Qin Guang had just rushed to Wu Tong's side when Wu Tong shouted and used her other hand to block him behind her. Her other hand was holding the baton in front of her. This woman was really not weak. Even though she was fighting against many, she was still able to wield the baton like a tiger and was actually able to gain the upper hand. Wu Tong had her own reasons for snatching the blade from Qin Guang. She thought that Qin Guang was a hothead who didn't know how to control his strength. Snatching his weapon was also to protect him. She was afraid that Qin Guang would smash someone to death with his baton. As for Wu Tong, she relied on the fact that she had received professional training and was an expert in kickboxing. Although she seemed to be swinging her stick like a madman, in reality she only aimed at non-vital areas such as shoulders, arms and legs. Even if she hit them, she would at most break a bone. This sister is a public servant and dealing with these people is just carrying out her duties. It doesn't matter if I injure them. It was also because she didn't have a gun on her. Otherwise Wu Tong would have directly pulled out her gun to scare them. On the other side, Qin Guang was in a difficult situation. He had originally planned to use the many killing moves that he had learned in the Sea of Transient to give these people a quick death. He never thought that he would be constantly interrupted by Wu Tong. "Move aside," Qin Guang anxiously said. Waving her right hand, Wu Tong knocked another person down before she rammed her left shoulder into Qin Guang, causing him to stagger. "Get up. Don't obstruct official business." Qin Guang then noticed that in just a short 10 seconds, Wu Tong had already knocked down 4 people. "Female hero. Why are you so strong?" He didn't know if it was because the quality of his baton was too good or if it was because this woman's strength was too heavy, but those who were hit by her were all holding their injuries and groaning on the ground. The situation changed too quickly and caught everyone off guard. Brother Scar, who was experienced and knowledgeable, finally realized something. This woman looked delicate, but her technique was not ordinary. She was not simply trained but a true professional. His own little brother had been beaten up like a chicken or a dog. Brother Scar also felt that his face had lost face. "Knife Scar, wait." Eyeglasses Wu was about to say something. Brother Scar howled and rushed forward. When the eldest brother appeared, his aura was naturally different from that of the younger brother. He strode forward and took out 2 nunchakus from behind him. He had been immersed in this path for many years. The 2 nunchakus made of pure stainless steel danced like silver dragons coming out of their caves, sweeping away the clouds. Moving to Wu Tong's side, Brother Scar struck out with his dual rods. With 2 clanging sounds, Wu Tong's originally unstoppable rod finally met its match and was hit to the side. Wu Tong was powerful, but Brother Knife Scar was able to get to the top position in Wenxing Town at such a young age, and it wasn't an undeserved reputation. Finally, someone who could fight came. Wu Tong was in high spirits and shouted, "Come on. Tristing. Awesome. Bang." Watching from the side, Qin Guang could only watch helplessly as he exclaimed, "You took away my stuff. You're having a good time. But you should at least think about me. Kid, you run first. Don't worry about your car. After I take care of these people, they'll pay for it." Wu Tong finally reacted and almost forgot about the main character of the day. But she was fighting fiercely with Brother Scar and couldn't get away. She said this without turning her head. When experts fought, the scene was extremely dangerous. The others couldn't get close or else they might be accidentally injured. Qin Guang didn't want to leave at first, but Wu Tong was gradually gaining the upper hand in the fight with Brother Scar. Qin Guang felt that he didn't have any weapons, so he couldn't help much even if he went up. If he continued to stay here, if he could hit hard, even if he got injured, he might be able to take care of the other small fries with his bare hands. But he had to be wary of Wu Tong's identity as a police officer. He didn't have any weapons and he couldn't hit hard. The other side had knives, guns and clubs. Since that was the case, it was better to make a strategic retreat and change to a spectator mode. If the situation turned bad, then he would make a plan. But now it seemed that even if Wu Tong was alone with the sharpness of the club and her skills, she might really be able to take care of these people. Qin Guang was happy. Well, since you're so confident and you look so majestic. The old man's body was slightly unwell, so he had to go first. He was also quick to see the opportunity. The other people saw that they couldn't get involved in the fight between Brother Scar and Wu Tong, so they turned around and came to him. Officer Wu, you cover the back. I'll take my leave first. Qin Guang hollered before he turned around and fled. The meticulous eyeglasses Wu had already stealthily brought two people behind him. He couldn't stop Brother Scar from attacking, so he could only take care of this side for the time being. He smiled sinisterly and said, "Little bastard, you want to run? That easy?" Wait. What did he just say? Officer Wu. Why did the last two words sound familiar? Officer. Qin Guang, remember to come to the station and pay the fine yourself. Today I helped you take care of the matter. On the other side, Wu Tong still had the time to talk to Qin Guang while fighting with Scarface. She seemed to be in a relaxed mood. While Eyeglasses Wu was absent-minded, Qin Guang had already run out. From now on he was free to fly in the sky and free to swim in the sea. Officer Wu Tong. Thank you for your kindness. If you die in the line of duty, I'll be there for your funeral. Although he said so, Qin Guang didn't really run away but stopped after 2 steps. He looked back and was ready to save her at any time. On the other side, Eyeglasses Wu shouted, "Scar, stop. The woman in front of you is a police officer. Stop right now." These so-called gray forces were more or less jumping around in front of ordinary people. Recently, there were all kinds of rectification and all kinds of evildoers. How would these small fries dare to wave their swords and guns at the police? They couldn't hide when they saw them. If they really couldn't hide, they would nod and bow, hand cigarettes and so on. They even had to pat their chests and promise that they had been doing small businesses, such as opening a game hall or a small internet cafe. Eyeglasses Wu already felt that the woman was very professional, and now that he confirmed that she was a police officer, he couldn't care less about Brother Scar's fierce fight and shouted. When Brother Scar heard this, his heart skipped a beat. His hand trembled and the nunchaku that was sweeping stopped halfway. What? What did you say? Police. Oh my god. He did intend to stop, so he stopped the nunchaku that was flying halfway. But in the end, his hand stopped but the nunchaku didn't. The nunchaku flew out of his hand and hit Wu Tong's head. Thump. Aya. Wu Tong's crazy movements came to an abrupt stop, and she glared at Brother Scar for about 3 seconds before cursing, "You cheated." Then there was nothing else. Wu Tong's eyes turned black and she fainted. She fell to the ground like a dead pig. On the other side, Qin Guang's face darkened. "My sister, you're not playing by the rules. Weren't you acting almighty just now?" The others had already given up and let go of their weapons. Why did you use your head to receive this blow? Aren't you making it impossible for them to surrender? Chapter 71. He couldn't care less and rushed into the crowd again. F***ck. You guys really dare to do this? Do you know who this is? That guy on TV 2 days ago? That's right, isn't there a department head in Dechuan province with the surname Wu? I think he's called Wu Xian. This is his daughter Wu Tong. Of course, it wasn't because Qin Guang had sharp eyes and saw through Wu Tong's real identity. He was purely trying to scare these people by suddenly thinking of an official on TV. He didn't know that he was right. He really lived up to his teeth. But now Scarface and Eyeglasses Wu were completely dumbfounded. Surname Wu? Wrangler? Young and good at fighting? Temper like a spoiled young lady? Police. Eyeglasses Wu's face turned pale. Could it be? No. Could it be her? You guys better think about how to deal with this. Don't think about killing us. It's just an injury. If you guys are really stupid, I'll find her even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground. At this moment, Qin Guang had already rushed to Wu Tong's side and stood in front of her. At the same time he inwardly spat. Did I really think that you're an expert? If I knew that you're so weak, I wouldn't have let you go alone. At this time, Eyeglasses Wu and Scarface felt wronged. I'm going to pull back. But I didn't expect the nunchaku to fall out of my hand. She's obviously very capable. How did I get hit by a fluke? How can I endure the fate of making fools of me? Scarface had a headache. He didn't know what to do. He looked at Eyeglasses Wu, hoping that he would make a decision. So here's the problem. Originally, they just took 100,000 yuan from Pan Yu to find trouble with a student. They just needed to beat the student up to Pan Yu's request. Scarface and Eyeglasses Wu were familiar with this kind of business. If they said they would beat the student up to 0.75, they would never beat the student up to 0.76. Although 100,000 yuan wasn't a lot, it wasn't a small amount either. The matter wasn't complicated either. If it was done well, they could also get on Pan Yu's good side. In the future, they might be able to cooperate with Pan Yu's company. This was supposed to be a happy thing, but in the actual process, there was an accident and the situation was very serious. He had taken down a police officer, and he was a second-generation police officer with an official background. Facing such a situation, what should he do? Eyeglasses Wu was indeed a genius. It only took him 5 seconds to come up with a decision. He tugged at Brother Scar's sleeve, turned his head, aimed in a direction and shouted, "Run!" Of the 36 stratagems, retreat is the best stratagem. Although there was a surveillance camera at the corner of the road, the direction that Glasses Wu took the lead in was the blind spot of the surveillance camera. He didn't know how badly injured the policewoman was. Anyway, it was better to run first. Later on, she would refuse to admit it or try her best to make up for it. He had to pay, she would pay. He had to run, she would run. It was definitely not a good idea to stay here and be caught red-handed. The few people who were knocked to the ground earlier also recovered one after another. The others who could still move also supported each other and prepared to escape. Trying to run after acting tough? Qin Guang didn't agree. He took the baton from the unconscious Wu Tong and sprinted forward. In a few steps, he stood in front of Glasses Wu and Brother Scar. "Brat, we came for you today. Now that there's an accident, we're in a hurry to leave, but you still came to us to court death? Do you believe that I only need 5 seconds to take care of you? It won't take too much time." Brother Scar laughed sinisterly, raised his baton and pounced forward. It was a bit painful to accidentally hurt the policewoman. If he just ran away like this, he would indeed suffer a double loss. If he could take care of this brat before he left, he could at least protect his wife. Seeing him coming aggressively, Qin Guang grinned. "Is that so? 5 seconds? You don't have a lot of work to do?" Although Brother Scar was very powerful, Qin Guang wasn't bad either. The killing techniques that Qin Guang learned in the Sea of Time were also time-tested. He might not be able to win, but he wouldn't be easily defeated. Moreover, he just wanted to stall these people. As early as when Wu Tong came over, Qin Guang quietly called Yao Yao Ling. He still hadn't hung up the phone and it was still connected. If the people in the Wenqing branch weren't idiots, it wouldn't take long for them to arrive. "Oh, you're quite stubborn, huh? But you're just a *T university student. No matter how hard your mouth is, it can't be used as a fist. Grandpa, I will teach you the principles of an adult in society." Brother Scar swung the baton in his right hand horizontally. The tip of the baton went straight for Qin Guang's shoulder. His left hand swung up and went straight for Qin Guang's chin. Seeing the opportunity, Qin Guang abruptly took a step back and avoided the range of the nunchaku. At the same time, he swung the nunchaku in his hand towards Scarface's nunchaku. He first knocked away the nunchaku in his right hand before swinging it towards the nunchaku in his left hand. The two batons collided. The strength in Brother Scar's left hand was slightly weaker, so the baton turned around and was about to hit his face. Brother Scar quickly put away his thoughts of underestimating his enemy. He raised his neck and raised his left hand slightly. The baton that was spinning at high speed was swung across the bridge of his nose. He broke out in a cold sweat. He took a few steps back and stared at Qin Guang. His eyes no longer had the slightest bit of insolence from before. All that was left was 100% fear. "Brat, you have some skills, huh? Just what kind of underworld are you in?" Brother Scar asked. Qin Guang swung the baton to his side, blocking Wu Jing and the others who wanted to slip away. He laughed and said, "Aren't you very clear? Since Pan Zhang asked you guys to deal with me, he would not tell you guys anything, right? Aren't I a student of this Gokyo University? I guarantee it. Brother Scar frowned again. In his heart he only believed less than 30% of Qin Guang's words. He was indeed a university student. But from the short exchange between the two of them, this person's skills were not bad. Perhaps he was on the same level as the policewoman who was knocked out by accident. However, although the policewoman's skills were skilled, she was somewhat immature. Although her fighting skills were exquisite, she lacked experience. She lacked a layer of experience and ruthlessness. But this Qin Guang was completely different. Although he looked unorthodox, his moves were extremely ruthless. In the short exchange he gave off a feeling that he was in a life-and-death situation. This seemingly laughing and joking university student, once he got serious, he actually had a murderous aura that was rarely seen in the underworld. This kind of murderous aura wasn't something mystical. Instead, it was a kind of psychological pressure that came from a person whose hands were truly stained with human lives. When he fought with others, it was the kind of disregard for his opponent's life that formed a psychological pressure. This was something that could really be felt. This guy was a hidden expert. That silly look just now was just an act to fool people, wasn't it? Brother Scar's guess wasn't wrong. Ever since he left the transient sea, Qin Guang had spent a lot of effort to change his temperament that he had developed on the An Royal. Previously, when he fought with people in school, he only got a little serious with Kim Jongpan. Unfortunately, that taekwondo expert was just an empty shell. He was defeated in one move, so he wasn't able to fight to his heart's content. Later on, he met second Uncle Wen. That old man was so strong that he couldn't be reasoned with. When I was fighting with you, you pulled out some internal energy to cheat. I don't even know what that is. Everyone's level wasn't even on the same level. There was no way to play or have a pleasant conversation. Today he met Brother Scar, this so-called underworld person. The other party was hired to cause trouble. Qin Guang had long wanted to take the opportunity to fight to his heart's content. Chapter 72. Unfortunately, this was the real world, not the world in a cup created by the heavenly Holy Grail, where it couldn't easily take someone's life. Otherwise, Qin Guang would have at least 3 ways to kill Brother Scar on the spot. He was someone who had died 95 times. If they were to fight to the death and both parties were of similar skill levels, they could trade injury for injury and life for life. Qin Guang had a wealth of experience trading 1 for 1, so unless he was courting death, he would definitely win. Killing the other party was actually much easier than beating him fair and square. Qin Guang was indeed struggling to control his thoughts of killing the other party. He was a little tired. That Pan guy found us such a powerful opponent, but he only gave us 100,000 yuan. That's not fair at all. We've been scammed. Eyeglasses Wu said with an ugly expression. Brother Scar nodded. Logically speaking, that's true. But since we've already accepted the job, whether we make a profit or lose is a matter of the future. Right now he's not letting us go. Qin Guang's face darkened. That's right. None of you can leave today. Fez, look over there. There's a surprise. Following the direction Qin Guang was pointing at, 3 police cars were speeding over, sirens blaring and lights flashing. Bureau Chief Ding had just figured out Wu Tong's background last night, and such a thing had happened today. How could he let it go? First, Wu Tong's internal communication device sent a distress signal, followed by Qin Guang's live broadcast of the police station. Chief Ding happened to be the leader on duty at the station tonight, and when he heard the news he almost pissed his pants. It was like poking a hornet's nest, and the entire station exploded. From the time the signal was received to the time all the officers were dispatched, not even a minute had passed. Weren't they already here? They had practically broken the record for the fastest dispatch of the Wenxing station. Seeing that these people were so scared that their legs turned to jelly, Qin Guang struck while the iron was hot. Alright, I advise you guys not to run. If nothing happens to Wu Tong, then today's incident isn't too important. You guys can just hand over the person behind the contract and deal with him accordingly. If Wu Tong is seriously injured, where can you run to? How about this? She was looking for me for something today. She's an acquaintance. Old man, I still have some say in front of Wu Tong. Now that my car has been smashed by you, if you can properly compensate me for the money you owe me, I'll be happy and put in a good word for you later. Then things can be a little better. What do you think? Brother Scar hung his head in resentment. There was really no way to run. Eyeglasses Wu, who was at the side, tactfully came forward. Fine, we brothers admit defeat today. At the end of the day, the fault lies with Pan Dehai, the vice president of Tongyun Construction Company. He was the one who paid us to stop you. He only said that you're a university student and didn't say anything else. We were unlucky to bump into this policewoman. We didn't know how powerful you were. We'll admit defeat. Qin Guang waved his hand impatiently. I don't need you to tell me who asked you to come here. You can go back and tell the police about this. Take out the money. Take out as much as you have on you. Hurry up. The police cars were about to arrive. Strictly speaking, it would only cost around 1,000 RMB to fix the car. If they didn't take this opportunity to extort money, they wouldn't have another chance later. Glasses Wu was also a smart person. He quickly shouted. Quick! Everyone, give us your money. Give us as much as you have. Sometimes, small fries like Brother Scar and Eyeglasses Wu were quite pitiful. In front of the other hooligans in town he looked impressive, but when it came to the people and matters in the police station he looked like a desolate and helpless citizen. In less than half a minute, these people deftly emptied their pockets, and a bunch of brightly colored banknotes appeared in Eyeglasses Wu's hands. Qin Guang scooped it up and stuffed it into his pocket. It was bulging like a fatty that had eaten too much and it was filled to the brim. Right at this moment the 3 police cars screeched to a stop beside them. The sirens were so loud that it made them dizzy. It's them. Don't let any of them get away. All of a sudden, a roar resounded from behind them, startling Qin Guang, who was counting the money in his pocket. Big sister, you're awake already. Is the siren your alarm clock or something? Wu Tong covered her temples with her hands and slowly stood up from the ground. She looked at Brother Scar with hatred in her eyes. She looked as if she wanted to skin him alive. Despicable scum. How dare you plot against me? Wu Tong slowly walked over and said fiercely. Hey. It was clearly you who knocked yourself out, big sister. We're just innocent people of the martial arts world who got implicated. Brother Scar and Eyeglasses Wu had tears on their faces. On the other side, Wang Long and a few others had already gotten out of the car. Wang Long and another policewoman moved to Wu Tong's side to take care of her. The other 7 or 8 people were fully armed as they closed in on Brother Scar's group. Chief Ding rushed to the front. He had already pulled out his gun. The black muzzle was pointed at Brother Scar's head. He roared. Get down. All of you F*King get down. Whoever dares to move, I'll shoot him. The chief took the lead and pulled out his gun. The others naturally followed. It wasn't the first time that Brother Scar had dealt with the people from the Wenxing branch. He was also a familiar face in front of Chief Ding, so he had never seen Chief Ding like this. With a bitter face he said, Chief Ding, it's me. Don't. Who the F***ck is familiar with you? Get down. Chief Ding rubbed his fat body. He rushed up and kicked Brother Scar's waist. Then he professionally took half a step back and pointed his gun at Brother Scar. Get down. Quick. Brother Scar squatted down. He really didn't dare to resist. Even Qin Guang, who had just made a small fortune, almost suffered a calamity. Fortunately, the police officer who came to arrest him was also on duty last night. He had personally witnessed the ambiguous relationship between Qin Guang and Wu Tong. Yo, he's one of us. Without waiting for Qin Guang to explain, this good brother helped him out. Qin Guang laughed. That's right, one of us. Today I'm still a good Samaritan. Hee brother-in-law, you really know how to joke. You helping our sister Tong is a matter of course. What Samaritan? Faster thief. Bro, your ability to hit a snake with a stick is a little unreasonable. Who the F***ck is your brother-in-law? Don't tell me you didn't realize that the sister Tong you were talking about was already standing behind you. She was waving her hand and preparing to give you a surprise attack? Big mouth ma, get lost. This isn't your brother-in-law. Qin Guang, today I've been implicated because of you. Hand it over. Wu Tong covered her head with one hand and spread out her other hand in front of Qin Guang, rubbing her fingers. Chapter 73. Qin Guang was confused. Huh. You're still acting, aren't you? Do you believe that I will send you in for another 48 hours to assist in the investigation? Wu Tong gritted her teeth. She had the urge to chop someone up when she thought of what happened today. She followed this idiot around the city in the afternoon. Not only was she exhausted, but she also felt that she was as stupid as a pig. It was not easy for her to stop him here, but she became his shield and helped him avoid a disaster. Otherwise, who knows how badly this guy would have been beaten up. I'm a good person giving warmth to the community. Wu Tong did not know that after she fainted, not only did Qin Guang stop Brother Scar and his men, but he also extorted a sum of money from them. She only thought that her colleagues came to her rescue in time. After all, she did wake up when she heard the sirens. When she opened her eyes, she saw her colleagues jumping out of their cars, and Qin Guang was surrounded by them with an innocent look. The more Wu Tong thought about it, the more she felt wronged. She could not accept it and she could not die in peace. Qin Guang was stunned by her words. She could really send him in for 48 hours. Every second of my time is precious. How can I waste it in there? I can't fight back. Qin Guang grinned. I was just joking with you. This debt could not be denied. It's just that I only have my card with me. I don't have any cash. Qin Guang held onto his pocket and lied. Wu Tong looked as if she had seen through him. She took out her phone from her pocket. PayPal transfer. Don't tell me that you don't have a PayPal when you're a university student. Qin Guang continued to lie. I really don't have any. On the other side, Brother Scar and his men were all obediently waiting to be captured. Wang Long had nothing to do. He came over and took out something from his pocket. I have a Lakera phone card reader here. You can swipe your bank card directly. Damn it. Why are you police officers? Why don't you open a bank? This time he really couldn't deny it. Qin Guang could only take out his bank card and swipe it for Wu Tong. However, as soon as she woke up, she was in the mood to settle the debt. The blow on her head just now didn't seem to matter, so she was relieved. That was right. Unreasonable Tong Tong would not be easily killed. According to the nature of television dramas, the amnesia buff would definitely be triggered after being hit in the head. Fortunately, this was not a television drama. Chief Ding came over and wanted Wu Tong to go to the hospital for a checkup. But Wu Tong felt embarrassed today, so she waved her hand. It's just a small injury. It's not a big deal. The case is more important. Chief Ding, you've worked hard. Please escort these suspects back first. I'll talk to Qin Guang for a bit before heading back to the station. Today we must investigate this contract murder case thoroughly. Brother Scar, who was about to be escorted into the car, couldn't take it anymore. He quickly turned around and howled, "What do you mean by hiring a killer? Don't make such a big hat. It was just hurting people." Hurting people. Eyeglasses Wu raised her head and looked at the waning moon in the sky. She looked like she didn't want to know Brother Scar. Brother, can you be more straightforward? I think they don't need to interrogate you. They just used a little trick to scare you and you'll confess everything? When the escort car and police cars gradually went away, Wang Long was left sitting in Wu Tong's Wrangler. Wu Tong looked at Qin Guang with a complicated expression. Qin Guang's heart thumped. Could it be that she still has feelings for him? I have to nip this scary bud in the bud. Are your injuries really okay? I was scared just now. Hey, why is it that the words coming out of my mouth and my heart are completely different? My heart doesn't want it, but my body is too honest. Wu Tong shook her head. It's not a big deal. I just happened to be hit in the temple. I didn't feel it when I recovered. That guy with a scar on his face is too shameless. He actually used a weapon to sneak attack me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lost. Yeah, he's too shameless. I can roughly guess who hired someone to do this. Don't worry, I'll give you an explanation. This kind of behavior is challenging the bottom line of the law enforcers. If everyone takes revenge, what's the use of the law? Qin Guang nodded. Yeah. Let's uphold the dignity of the law. But Pan Zhang's father seems to be the vice president of some construction company. He's quite powerful. How do you know it's Pan Zhang's family? Wu Tong was shocked. Qin Guang covered his head. Sister, I got into Gokyo University fair and square. I scored more than 640 points in the college entrance examination. I'm not stupid. Can you not question my intelligence? That's true. Apart from that, Pan Zhang's attempted rape also needs to be explained to the female victim. We can settle these two matters together, Wu Tong said. Qin Guang was puzzled. Didn't you say that he didn't commit a crime? Now you're... Wu Tong snorted. But I didn't say that I'll let him get away with it. Why should I explain to you what I do? Anyway, go back to your school and be a good student. I can at least guarantee that you won't be harassed by Pan Zhang's family anymore. Qin Guang was amused. That's great. Thanks a lot. Seeing that he was about to leave, Wu Tong looked at his car and suddenly remembered something. Oh yeah, let me ask you. Why are you driving around the city in broad daylight? Don't tell me. Wu Tong wanted to ask him if he noticed that she was following him. Scratching his head, Qin Guang waved his phone and replied, Nothing much. My mom is sick and needs medication. It's tens of thousands of yuan a month. I usually work and study to earn some money. It's not easy for me to save up a little more than 10,000 yuan. Doesn't that mean I have to pay you a fine of 10,000 yuan? That's for my mom's medication. I have no choice but to make a few more trips to get the money as soon as possible. His words were half-truths. His motive was simple. Seeing that she was a good person and had taken his money, he would be happy if he could make her feel a little guilty. Wu Tong was stunned. You're on the internet. My liver hurts. My stomach hurts too. No wonder he had been wandering around the city all day. He was running the internet. How could I be so stupid? Oh no, my blood sugar is low and I'm feeling dizzy. Wu Tong's face was black as she laid on the Wrangler's passenger seat. However, she understood why Qin Guang was so determined to renege on his debt. It turned out that his family was in such a difficult situation. This was his mom's medication. Come to think of it, I was too much. A hateful person must have a pitiful side. Wu Tong indeed felt guilty. When she looked at him again, she was much more pleasing to the eye. She thought to herself, a filial man can't be that bad, right? She stuck her head out of the window and said to Qin Guang, who was wiping the front windshield with a rag, How about I return the money to you first? Just take it as a loan. Qin shook his head. It's okay. I'll figure it out myself later. Okay, then I'll go. Wu Tong waved at Qin and gestured for Wang Long to drive. Wang Long whispered, You like him, right? Wu Tong rolled her eyes. He's just a kid. How can I like him? Stop joking. Yesterday I must have gone crazy and taken the wrong medicine. I was going to beat him up today to vent my anger, but I ran into those ignorant hooligans and ruined my plan. Wang Long only smiled and didn't say anything. He thought to himself, even if Brother Scar and the others weren't around, she wouldn't have been able to do it. Why don't you think about what you were like yesterday? On the other hand, Wu Tong knew that the feeling from yesterday might be brief, but it left a deep impression on her. When she recalled it, her face would still turn red, and her heartbeat would quicken by 10% when she spoke to Qin Guang earlier. It wasn't much, but she was sure that it was faster than usual. She thought to herself, what the hell? How could I like this guy? There's no reason. Unfortunately, no matter how much she quibbled and denied it, she didn't say anything harsh to Qin Guang in the end, even though she had come with the intention of taking revenge. There was already a crack on the ice wall. When the wind blew, the crack would gradually grow and spread until the high wall collapsed. On the other side, Wu Tong and Wang Long returned to the Wenqing branch office. Qin Guang wiped the front windshield and drove the car to the auto repair shop near the school. It was much cheaper than the 4S shop and he could also get insurance. He took a taxi back to school and weighed the money in his pocket. He estimated that there was a net profit of about 10,000. Not bad. I seem to have forgotten something. Is it to help those people plead for Wu Tong? Come on, it's already good enough that I didn't hit them when they were down. Plead for them? I'm not a saint. After tricking Brother Scar and the others, Qin Guang didn't have any psychological burden at all. He happily returned to the dormitory. He didn't know that Pan Zhang's family was in big trouble. Wu Tong was really angered by Pan Zhang's family. Chapter 74. Early the next morning, Qin Guang was woken up by his phone ringing. He opened his eyes in a daze and looked at the time. It was only 8 o'clock in the morning. He picked up the phone and impatiently said, Who is it? If you have something to report to me, if not, get lost. I will kill you with a mouthful of salt soda. Go downstairs. Hurry up. I don't have time to waste with you. I'm waiting for you to assist in the investigation. Wu Tong's annoying voice came from the phone. At this moment, Qin Guang was speechless. He wondered if he had been possessed recently. This policewoman, you're still haunting me, right? Don't you know you're very annoying? What's wrong with me? Big sister, don't you know you're annoying? Didn't I give you the money? Can we not contact each other in the future? Qin Guang said what he thought. This time Qin Guang was very honest. On the other side of the call, Wu Tong's face was so pale that water could be squeezed out. I'll count to 3. If you still don't come down, I'll shout from below your dormitory. Qin Guang, you heartless bastard. How can you not care after getting someone pregnant? Qin Guang's drowsiness instantly disappeared. If she really did that, he would be on the front page of the school forum tomorrow. How could he raise his head in the future? Don't. I'll be right down. Rolling out of bed, he hurriedly comforted the phone. That's more like it. I'm asking you to cooperate with the investigation, not asking for your life. Your classmate Sun Xiaoxuan is also here. Today we will close the case of Pan Dehai and Pan Zhong's attempted rape. Isn't this helping you? Wu Tong spat and then hung up the phone. Sun Xiaoxuan, who was at the side, opened his mouth and looked at her as if he saw a ghost. Wu Tong proudly raised her eyebrows at Sun Xiaoxuan. What did you just say? You said he can't get up so early? I think it's quite simple. This man, as long as you find his weakness, it's very easy to deal with him. Sun Xiaoxuan, you're still young. You have to learn more. Sun Xiaoxuan turned his face away. He felt that it was a bit embarrassing to stand with this policewoman. At the same time, his heart was already on guard. It seems that I have another rival in love? 3 minutes later, Qin Guang went downstairs. Wu Tong couldn't stop laughing at the teacup in his hand. Don't you think it's shameful for a man to carry such a sissy cup all day long? Qin Guang was too lazy to bother with her. He turned his face away and smiled at Sun Xiaoxuan. In Guang's hospital, Pan Dehai was sitting next to Pan Zhong's bed. Night's surgery was successful. His son's surgery. Sun, Wang Hai Wang, Qing, Wang Sun, Gur, I, Wang, up, 102 letting these two, I cost. By I was he, to say, to, with, I tion I up by with he, of he, and hill, he. They haven't called to report the situation. Maybe they think it's too easy and not worth mentioning? Pan Dehai didn't think that Wang Scar and Wu would take the money and not do anything. His Tongyun construction company had a lot of influence in Guang, and there were many opportunities to cooperate with them. They wouldn't offend him over this small amount of money. Pan Jiang noticed Pan Dehai's expression. Dad, what are you laughing at? Pan Dehai shook off the dust on his suit. Wait for a while. You can call your classmate and ask about Qin Guang. Pan Jiang's eyes lit up. Did they make a move? Pan Dehai nodded. Of course. How can I let the person who injured my son live a comfortable life? Does he think he can get away with paying the medical bills? Dream on. The Pan family doesn't need this bit of money. Pan Dehai remembered the pretty policewoman announcing Qin Guang's punishment in front of him, and he was very unhappy. That kid was actually acquitted? Pay the compensation and get away with it? This result was simply a slap in the face to the dignified Pan Dehai. Although he didn't understand why his connections didn't work, maybe it was the policewoman's fault. But it didn't matter. Just detaining him or giving him a 1-year sentence was too easy on him. That kid hit my son so he can pay the compensation and get away with it. I can also let someone else turn that kid into a half-eunuch. This is much more interesting than a sentence, and I don't even have to pay the compensation. How's the fight? Pan Jiang asked with a grin. He was in a good mood. His balls, which had just finished the surgery, felt comfortable. Pan Dehai blinked. Anyway, his injuries are definitely worse than yours, including there. Pan Dehai pointed to Pan Jiang's crotch. Pan Jiang clenched his fist excitedly. Kill that bastard. How dare he kick my crotch? Dad, let's just turn him into a eunuch. At most, we can just pay the compensation. Pan Dehai smiled proudly. Do I need you to teach me this? I guess even if he's not a eunuch, he should be close to it, right? The fat woman who was peeling fruits on the side, Pan Jiang's mother, also snorted. In my opinion, just injuring him is too easy on him. Why don't we just let him fill the cement column? You've done it before anyway. Pan Dehai shushed her. Don't talk nonsense in front of your son. Don't mention those old things again. It's not like before. The fat woman rolled her eyes at Pan Dehai. Anyway, I'm not satisfied. Also, that girl who dared to frame my son is called Sun Xiaoxuan, right? We can't just let it go. We have to teach that vixen a lesson. Pan Jiang also nodded slightly. Dad, I've never begged you since I was a child. But this time I must get Sun Xiaoxuan. Help me. Pan Dehai looked at Pan Jiang again. Okay, let's celebrate your 20th birthday. It's rare for you to be so serious about a woman. Pan Jiang shook his head. I don't mean to be serious. I just want to play with her. Ruthlessly and break her. At this moment the ward door was pushed open. Wu Tong walked in front, followed by Wang Long and 3 other police officers. Pan Dehai stood up from his chair and said with a straight face, "What are you doing?" "Arrest her. Take her away," Wu Tong said as she pointed at Pan Dehai. Wang Long and another police officer approached him from the left and right. Pan Dehai struggled. "Let go. What right do you have to arrest me? I want to find my lawyer." Wu Tong curled her lips. "How lawyer? I just want to play with her." Ruthlessly. "Break her." She mimicked Pan Jiang's tone and said with a fake smile. Pan Dehai's expression changed. "You're spying on me? I want to sue you for violating my privacy." Wu Tong smiled. "That's one thing. If you want to sue me you can do it later. But right now you're suspected of hiring someone to injure someone. Come with me." Chapter 75. What are you doing? Let go of my dad. My dad is the vice president of the Transport and Construction Department. Pan Jiang, who was lying on the bed, also became agitated. Wu Tong pointed at Pan Jiang's head. "Vice president? It's useless even if you've committed a crime. Don't be in a hurry to jump out. You're also involved in a rape case. But considering that you've just had surgery and are still in bed, we won't take you away for the time being. But these 2 police officers will stay with you until you can reluctantly leave the hospital. We'll need you to assist in the investigation." Pan Jiang was stunned. "What? Don't frame me." Pan Jiang's fat mother rushed up from the side like a hungry tiger, wanting to hit Wu Tong. She shouted, "You bitch. Don't wrongly accuse my Pan and Xiaojiang. I'll kill you." No matter what, Wu Tong was an expert in Wujing City's police force. How could she let this fat woman get away with it? She grabbed her fat mother's hand and put it behind her back. She pressed down hard, making her unable to move. "I advise you to calm down. If you have anything to say you can ask your lawyer to help you in court. It's meaningless for you to howl in front of me." "Bitch. Let go. I know Chief Wang of the Municipal Bureau. Don't go too far. None of you here will have a good ending." The fat mother continued to howl. Wang Long, who knew what was going on, thought it was very funny. Wang Long only learned of Wu Tong's real background from Bureau Chief Ding 2 days ago. Her background was frighteningly big. That Bureau Chief Wang would never have the guts to touch a hair on Wu Tong, unless he didn't want to work anymore. Besides, Wu Tong was enforcing the law normally. There was no violation of the law. Before everyone set off, Chief Ding had already completed all the procedures to file a case. "Take her away." Wu Tong ignored the fat woman's clamor and just pushed her forward. She turned around and called Wang Long and the other 2 police officers to leave, leaving the 2 of them to watch over Pan Jiang in the ward. Pan Dehai reluctantly followed the crowd out. He turned back and said, "Honey Pan Jiang, don't worry. I'll call Chief Wang right away. If it doesn't work, Chief Lu from the head office can also help. They won't dare to do anything to me." He had purposely said these words in front of Wu Tong and the others. Wu Tong smiled disdainfully. "Fine, if you want to make a call I'll let you do it slowly. I want to see if your connections can reach the sky. Don't worry, let's wait for this great vice president to finish his call, then we'll take him away. That way he'll give up earlier and not cause a ruckus." Wang Long almost burst out laughing. "Big sister, do you have to be so mean?" On the way here, Wu Tong made a few phone calls in succession to greet them. She also sent the documents she prepared last night to the internal archives of the few VIPs one by one. Now, even if Pan Dehai went to the provincial office, it would be in vain, let alone the people in the city bureau. "Hello Chief Wang, it's me. Contact Pan Dehai of the Transport and Construction Division." "Where's little Pan?" "Pa." The call was cut off. "Director Zhou, hello?" "Pa, the call was cut off again." "Boss Lu, it's me Pan Dehai. Something happened here." Finally, there was someone who didn't hang up the phone. It was the boss of Tongyun Construction Company, Boss Lu. "Little Pan, I have a rough idea of what happened to you. I can only tell you that this time I can't protect you and no one can. I've always told you that now that we're doing business, we have to act like businessmen. Do you still think it's the old days?" But you don't listen to me. You always like to do things your own way. Now something happened, didn't it? Although I don't know how you offended others, you have to bear the consequences of your own mistakes. I can't let the whole company get involved in your matters. Do you know? You've pierced the heavens, you've gotten yourself into big trouble. Boss Lu said a few more words, but it extinguished the last glimmer of hope in Pan Dehai's heart. Boss Lu had been operating in Wujing City for many years and had a wide network of connections. He was the kind of person who was quite popular in the entire Dechuan province, both in the underworld and in the underworld. Pan Dehai was also his right-hand man, and he had helped him many times in the past. But this time he was going to abandon him without even thinking about it. It's over. His hands trembled as he hung up the phone. Pan Dehai's face no longer had the confidence and pride from before. Wu Tong glanced at him. Are you done with the call? Are you satisfied now? Can you leave with me now? Pan Dehai asked in a trembling voice. Who are you? Why is that? Who wants to mess with me? Why are you still so stubborn? Does it matter who I am? No one wants to mess with you and you don't have that value. What do you call this? You've made a trap for yourself. Actually, it wasn't that big of a deal for you to hire a hitman to hurt someone, but I seem to have heard something really big just now. I've seen a dossier before. In a bridge project that you were in charge of in your early years, it seemed like a designer had mysteriously disappeared. It was written in black and white in the dossier that the designer and the project manager, Pan Dehai, had always had a grudge against each other. Boss Pan, your story is quite complicated. Wu Tong's words were said lightly, but they hit the soft spot in Pan Dehai's heart that had been hidden for many years. His face suddenly turned snow-white and his whole body slowly fell limply to the ground. Looking at his pitiful state, Wu Tong rolled her eyes. He didn't deserve any sympathy. If you want to talk about the law, I'll talk about the law with you. If you want to compete with connections, I'll let my father compete with you. The matter this time wasn't that serious, but he had a criminal record in the past. If she dug it all out, he would probably fall into the abyss. Last time, in order to collect evidence for Pan Zhang's rape case, she had secretly hidden a listening device in the fat woman's clothes. If nothing unexpected happened, she could also solve a murder case from 10 years ago. It was really killing two birds with one stone. Pan Dehai was being carried out of the ward and he saw Qin Guang and Sun Xiaoxuan poking their heads out of the door. Qin Guang had long been hiding at the door and he had heard most of the conversation inside. When Wu Tong used the listening device just now, he was also at the side. Seeing Pan Dehai come out, Qin Guang went up to him. Hello, Uncle Pan. I'm Pan Zhang's classmate, Qin Guang. I heard that someone kicked his egg, so I brought some quail eggs to visit him. Eat it to make up for it. As he spoke, Qin Guang actually took out a quail egg from his pocket, and then he crushed it with his fingers. Qin Guang? That bastard who injured Pan Jiang. He's here to watch the show? Pan Dehai felt suffocated and his eyes rolled back. He was so angry that he almost fainted. Back in the ward, Pan Zhang's fat mother also knew that things were getting out of hand, but the biggest mistake she made was the words she had said. She was already lying on the ground and crying, saying that she was wronged and so on. Pan Jiang leaned back on the bed and his face was ashen. He knew that his whole family was finished. Chapter 76. Sun Xiaoxuan was kind enough to want to go in and comfort Pan Jiang. Qin Guang pulled her back. You still want to comfort someone like him? Didn't you hear what he said just now? Save it and go away. I don't think he'll give up so easily. There are some things that I have to talk to him face to face. With that, Qin Guang walked back into the ward. Wu Tong wanted to stop him. Qin Guang, what are you doing? Don't go in and cause trouble. Qin Guang's expression was very serious. Officer Wu, I really don't want to go in and cause trouble. You don't understand, Pan Jiang. If I don't go in and make things clear, let this kid see the situation clearly and warn him. Otherwise, Sun Xiaoxuan won't be safe and I won't be safe either. You don't want to see me involved in some case of excessive self-defense or manslaughter, do you? Are you threatening me? Wu Tong stared at him. Qin Guang shook his head. No, I'm just stating the facts. I'm not going to argue with you about the law, but since some things can be avoided, it's better to avoid them as much as possible, right? Wu Tong realized that she couldn't win against him in an argument. All right, I'm afraid of you. I'll go in with you. You better be careful. Even though you're in the right, don't go overboard and let others talk about you. Wu Tong finally agreed to Qin Guang's request. She even sent the other 2 police officers who were originally guarding the ward outside to make it easier for Qin Guang to speak. Actually, it was against the rules for her to bring people including Qin Guang and Sun Xiaoxuan. But now that the people at Wenxing branch knew about her special identity, no one reminded her about it. Of course, it wasn't a serious violation. Qin Guang was happy. He was just afraid that Wu Tong wouldn't come in. When he entered the ward, Pan Jiang was staring blankly at the sky. His fat mother seemed to have fainted from crying on the ground. Pan Jiang, you're injured. As your old classmate, I'm here to visit you on behalf of the whole class. Aren't you going to welcome me? Qin Guang walked in with a smile and a despicable expression on his face. It couldn't be helped. This guy had only himself to blame. Even at this point he still didn't know how to repent. If Wu Tong wasn't here, Qin Guang would have beaten him to death just based on what he had said earlier. It was just that he was being sarcastic with his words, but old Master Qin was really magnanimous. When Pan Jiang heard Qin Guang's voice, he slowly turned his head. His eyes that had been wandering around the horizon gradually came back to his senses. He abruptly straightened up from the bed. Qin Guang, you still dare to come? Oh, what's wrong? Did you become so bold after the surgery? You've improved? Why wouldn't I dare to come? Tell me, why wouldn't I dare to come? Qin Guang sat on the chair next to Pan Jiang's bed. He grabbed some melon seeds from the fruit plate next to him and started munching on them as he spoke. Pan Jiang's eyes were wide open and his eyebrows were raised. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling and his fists were clenched tightly. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew he couldn't beat Qin Guang, and if it wasn't for the fact that his crotch was still aching from the surgery, he would have jumped up and fought Qin Guang with all his might. Don't be too full of yourself. There will be a time when you'll cry and beg me to let you go. Qin Guang, you and I are irreconcilable. Pan Jiang squeezed out these words through his teeth. His hatred was monstrous. Qin Guang took another bite of melon seeds and turned his head to look at Wu Tong. Sis, did you see that? He's even threatening me. Wu Tong glared at him in annoyance. Who's your sis? Besides, is he threatening you? You're the one who took advantage of me and forced me to say harsh words, right? I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen someone as shameless as him. I've never seen someone as shameless as him. Wu Tong couldn't help but feel a bit regretful. If she knew this guy's mouth was so cheap, she wouldn't have asked him to warn Pan Jiang. How was this a warning? This was clearly a slap in the face. But in the end she didn't tear down Qin Guang's stage. If she could guess what Qin Guang was going to say next, she would definitely regret it so much that her intestines would turn green. Qin Guang suddenly stood up from the chair and leaned down to close the distance between him and Pan Jiang. He looked down at Pan Jiang and didn't say a word for a long time. Pan Jiang was a bit scared by his gaze. Qin Guang, what are you doing? The police are still here. You'd better not act recklessly. Qin Guang spat out 2 pieces of melon seed shells from his mouth and smashed them on Pan Jiang's forehead. He said in a sinister tone, "Are you stupid? Don't tell me you still don't understand? Haven't you given up yet? Don't you think that if I beat you up like this, your father wouldn't find someone to mess with me? But look at the result. I'm standing here alive and kicking, but you're lying on the hospital bed, half dead. Don't you think it's strange?" Without waiting for Pan Jiang to speak, Qin Guang continued, "I'm not afraid to tell you. According to the normal rules, I wouldn't have to be detained if I paid the money for beating you up. But more importantly, your father's connections were blocked by someone else. Do you understand? It was blocked. Your father's connections aren't strong enough." Pan Jiang opened his mouth, wanting to refute Qin Guang's words. Tongyun Construction Company wasn't a small enterprise, and the company's vice president was definitely considered a big shot. What about now? Your father found some gangsters to stop me last night, and today he immediately put himself in trouble. You heard the phone calls he made just now, right? You also know who he was calling, right? And the result? It's useless. It's useless no matter who he called. No one can save him. Pan Jiang, your father died because of you and your family is finished. This is all because of you. From now on, you Pan Jiang are no longer that rich boss's son. Your father will spend his days in jail. Maybe he'll even have to eat peanuts. As Qin Guang spoke, he kept closing the distance between him and Pan Jiang, his eyes fierce and aggressive. Pan Jiang didn't dare to look him in the eye, turning his head to the side. His eyes were dull, his gaze blank, and his expression panicked. "The Bible? No way. My father will be fine. If it wasn't for you, your father could have continued to be his boss in peace and you, Pan Jiang, would still be your rich second generation. But it's a pity that you offended someone you shouldn't have. Your family's connections are nothing compared to our sisters." As Qin Guang spoke, he stood up abruptly and pointed at Wu Tong, who was scratching her head in confusion. "See that? This is my sister Wu Tong. Her surname is Wu. She's a legitimate second-generation official. Connections? Can your father win against her? With just a phone call, your father, monkey son, couldn't escape from the palm of Buddha's hand. Of course, if your father was upright, there wouldn't be so much trouble. Although my sister is a second-generation official, she's also a police officer who abhors evil. But it seems like your father's background isn't that clean? Can he stand up to investigation? Now, do you still want to take revenge? You want to use your family's money and power to fight against my sister? Are you really that stubborn? I advise you to be a good person in the future. Since we're classmates, let's part on good terms, or else you'll be consigned to eternal damnation. What do you think?" When Qin Guang said the last sentence, his tone became gentler, but it didn't make Pan Jiang relax. Instead, his heart turned cold and his face turned ashen. Because the current Qin Guang was too confident. "Fine. That's all I have to say. If you still have any tricks up your sleeves, show me. Sister, let's go." After saying that, Qin Guang turned around and left. He even dragged Wu Tong, who was dizzy from his lies, out of the ward. Wu Tong only had one thought in her mind. "Oh my God. I never expected that there would be such a despicable and vicious person in this world. You've really reached a whole new level of intimidating others with your connections." Chapter 77. Wu Tong was not stupid. What did he mean by, "This is my sister Wu Tong, her surname is Wu"? He was obviously hinting to Pan Jiang about her relationship with Wu Shan, Chief Wu. Qin Guang could not possibly know about this. In that case, this guy must have thought of his father because of his surname. After all, her father had been on TV for the past 2 months and was considered a celebrity in Wujing City. He was purposely creating a misunderstanding for Pan Jiang, making him think that she was Chief Wu's daughter. He actually guessed correctly. Are you born in the year of the dog? If Wu Tong knew that this was the second time Qin Guang had used the same trick, she might have the urge to strangle Qin Guang. Actually, after she left the ward, her hand was already on Qin Guang's neck. "What kind of person do you think I am? Since when did I become your sister? I'm not close to you. Don't try to pull a fast one on me." Wu Tong was furious. That's too much. Of course, even though she said that and looked as if she wanted to eat someone up, in the end she didn't really have the heart to do it. She was a person who had a sharp tongue but a soft heart. Just like the day when she had recovered from her emotional state, she looked like she wanted to beat Qin Guang to death with a rubber baton. But until today she did not do it. Qin Guang laughed and moved Wu Tong's hand away from his neck. "All right. Who are you?" "You're the people's justice. The protector of justice in the world. Officer Wu. I'm doing this to kill Pan Jiang's motive in the cradle. I'm also defending the dignity of the law." Wu Tong spat at him and said, "Save it. No matter how I look at you, I still think you're going to add insult to injury." Qin Guang shook his head. No. Look at me, look at my sincere eyes. Believe me, I'm not that kind of person." As Qin Guang spoke, his eyes widened as he stared at Wu Tong, getting closer and closer. Wu Tong turned her head and looked directly at Qin Guang's big face. She said, "What are you doing? Wang Long and the others are waiting down there. Let's go, let's go." As she spoke, Wu Tong suddenly stopped talking. Looking at him at such a close distance, she suddenly recalled that night. Whenever she saw him, her heart would beat wildly as if it was about to jump out of her throat. The hospital corridor, which was originally bustling with people, suddenly became dead silent. She could even hear her own heartbeat, which was getting louder and more intense. Her breathing also gradually became nervous and hurried. Wu Tong thought that a long time had passed, but it was actually less than 10 seconds. She turned her head to the side and pushed Qin Guang away. "Stop it. Give me an explanation. Otherwise, you'll have a taste of your own medicine." Qin Guang flashed to the side to avoid Wu Tong's sneak attack. With a straight face, he seriously said, "Officer Wu, you don't understand Pan Jiang. You're right. I just deliberately made up your identity to look like I was taking the opportunity to humiliate him. But in my eyes he's just a passerby in life, so there's no need to find pleasure from him. But you also saw that he didn't have the slightest bit of repentance just now. He hates me and Sun Xiaoxuan to the bone. Even if he's sentenced to prison because he drugged the class monitor, it won't be more than 2 years, right? Not to mention that he didn't succeed, so I'm afraid the time is even shorter, right? Wu Tong felt a bit disappointed when he turned serious and even called her Officer Wu. But she didn't show it on her face. She also put on a solemn expression and nodded. That's true. Qin Guang solemnly replied, that's right. He will regain his freedom sooner or later, and if he maintains the same mentality as before, coupled with the fact that his father, Pan Dehai, must have left him quite a sum of money. If that's the case, can I and the class monitor study in peace in the future? I'm afraid we'll have to live in fear all the time, right? So, that's why I'm borrowing your power to suppress his heart. To make him feel that there's no hope for him to succeed in his revenge. Or even if he succeeds, he won't be able to bear the counterattack of my big sister, Officer Wu. In the future he'll gradually let go of the hatred he has for me and the class monitor, and steadily live his second life. As the saying goes, revenge breeds revenge. When will it ever end? I've put a lot of effort into this, so please understand. How do you know he'll really be scared? Wu Tong didn't believe it. Qin Guang smiled confidently. If it was someone else, this trick of mine might not be effective. But for Pan Jiang, I'm willing to bet 10,000 that it'll definitely be effective. The more obsessed a person is with power and money, the more they'll be afraid of someone stronger than them. On the surface, Pan Jiang looked like a crazy person who relied on his family's wealth and power to be arrogant, domineering, and disregarding the law. But in fact he was a slave to real power in his bones. His father is currently in big trouble. Although he doesn't know why no one responded to him when he called for help, it doesn't matter. At least it can give Pan Jiang the illusion that there's a big shot who wants to mess with Pan Dehai. I also took advantage of the fact that the armed police officer had the same surname as that high-ranking official Wu, so I lied to him. Needless to say, he'll think in that direction himself. Wu Tong rolled her eyes. This guy, what illusion that there's a big shot who wants to mess with Pan Dehai. Fake your face. Wu Shan is my dad. I'm the one who wants to mess with Pan Dehai. Of course she couldn't bring herself to say it out loud. Otherwise wouldn't Qin Guang think she was showing off? You stinking brat. You're really something. Wu Tong stretched out her finger and poked Qin Guang's head. She rolled her eyes at him. All right, there's nothing for you to do here. I'll go back to the station first. I'm afraid there's still a lot of cases behind Pan Dehai that need to be dug up. Most of the credit should go to me. This is the biggest contribution I've made since I started working. Last night, the arrest of Brother Scar's gang was also my credit. I owe you a favor. I'll treat you to a meal later. I'll leave first. After walking a few steps, Wu Tong turned around and looked at Qin Guang from head to toe. She had to say, after everything was over, this brat was quite pleasing to the eye. Perhaps Wu Tong didn't feel it herself, but after that unforgettable night of emotional torture, although that feeling had disappeared, the memory remained. Although she said she hated him and couldn't get used to seeing Qin Guang again, deep in her heart she couldn't bring herself to hate him at all. She thought about how she always suffered losses whenever she met this guy. On the first day she wanted to detain him for 15 days, but he walked away with his head held high. On the second day she wanted to beat him up, but she ended up helping him beat others instead. Instead she became his free thug. Today she was used by this guy again. He said that she pretended to be a rich second generation to scare Pan Jiang, but it turned out to be true. Wu Tong had suffered too many losses. If she didn't get back at him she wouldn't feel at ease. Oh, that's right. Didn't this brat call me sister just now? I'll go along with it and make this brat shorter than me for no reason. I'll piss you off. Brat. I'll remember what you said just now. When you see me in the future, call me sister. Do you hear me? I'm your sister. Behave yourself. Don't let me catch you and send you to the police station. Otherwise you won't be able to bear the consequences. Oh, you're still thinking about that 11,000 yuan? Don't worry about it. I can lend it to you, but don't think about winning it back from me. Let's go. This time Wu Tong really left. She whistled and skipped. She was in a good mood and very proud of herself. She never thought that if she really recognized Qin Guang as her brother she would be the one at a disadvantage. Chapter 78. Why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face? Qin Guang felt uncomfortable being stared at by Sun Xiaoxuan's weird expression. He couldn't help but ask when they walked out of the hospital. Sun Xiaoxuan smiled mysteriously. Nothing. I just think you've become more handsome recently. Qin Guang was delighted. He touched his face. Really? Really? Sun Xiaoxuan was disgusted by his narcissism. He poked him in the waist with his finger and laughed. Stop being so smug. Hurry back to school. Today is the swimming team's semi-finals. We don't have a basketball team this time, but the whole class is counting on you to do well. Even though everyone says that it's important to participate, Teacher Zhou will be disappointed if he returns empty-handed. So I've become famous in class these past 2 days? Qin Guang was overjoyed. He didn't know that swimming fast had this benefit. Sun Xiaoxuan nodded. Of course. The people who watched your race that day have become your fans. Gaoye, that big mouth has been promoting you to the girls every day. You probably don't know that she recorded it with her phone and plays it to everyone she meets. Don't you pay attention to the boys? Qin Guang shook his head. He thought to himself, every second of my life is so fulfilling. I earn hundreds of thousands of yuan every minute. I don't have the time to care about what others say about me. I don't earn a single cent. So many girls admire me? He couldn't control his narcissism in the end. Sun Xiaoxuan nodded. Yes. It's not just the girls. Teacher Zhou also said that he wants to watch your race today. When Qin Guang heard that, he scratched his head in puzzlement. All right, I'll treat it as if what you said is true. I'm really popular in the class, but why hasn't anyone confessed to me yet? There's no reason. As an old bachelor, it wasn't easy for him to become a celebrity, but why did he have to continue to be a bachelor? I can't accept this. Sun Xiaoxuan was speechless. The two took a taxi back to school. Before Sun Xiaoxuan left, he encouraged Qin Guang again, telling him to swim well today and maintain his winning streak until the finals. Of course, judging from the previous matches, this matter was set in stone without any suspense. Even Dong Tao was no match for Qin Guang. No one in the school could pose a threat to Qin Guang in the 400-meter freestyle. Sun Xiaoxuan only regretted that he didn't register a few more items for Qin Guang. Otherwise, it would have been great if he could have bought all of them. Qin Guang naturally agreed to Sun Xiaoxuan's encouragement. After all, this wasn't a difficult task to begin with. Unfortunately, in the end, he still couldn't step onto the springboard of the semi-finals. After returning to the dormitory, Qin Guang was about to tidy up his swimming trunks. When he opened his cabinet, he saw the glittering golden armor. An idea popped into his head. *CK It's been almost 2 weeks since I saved those 2 celebrities. Big Beard Deng's armor has been with me for so long. Why hasn't Big Beard called me? Didn't he say that he would give me a chance to earn 100,000 in 30 seconds? Could it be that he had forgotten about me? Bastard. Ungrateful ingrate. The new king of Yu Gojian. Poor me, I've been practicing my acting skills day and night for the past 2 weeks. I've been thinking about how to become a good actor. Although the more I practice, the more I fall behind, my sincerity can be seen by the heavens and the earth. But you. In the end, you were just saying it casually to be polite to me, weren't you? You never intended to be grateful, you were just messing with me, right? You're an animal. Do you know that your polite words caused the old man to lose his appetite and couldn't sleep at night? King took it seriously. You're a famous director, how can you trick a commoner like this? Are you even human? Qin Guang was a little unhappy. If it was anyone else, they would not be happy after being tricked like this. Turning around, he saw Bai Nyangzi with a rag doll on his bed. Don't ask him why there was such a thing on his bed. There was no need to explain. Jumping up, Qin Guang grabbed the rag doll and wrote Big Beard Deng on it. I'll break your hand. I'll break your neck. I'll wrap your legs. I'll beat you to death. Qin Guang subjected Bai Nyangzi to inhumane torture to vent his anger. After he was done, he had a flash of inspiration. Oh, did you forget about me? Then you don't remember this set of armor, right? Furthermore, I didn't write an IOU. This thing's workmanship is so exquisite. It should be worth at least $2, right? Qin Guang immediately went around asking where he could sell this thing to see if he could sell it for a good price. You don't say. He managed to contact a famous cultural company in Wujing City. This company specialized in commercial performances and props for film crews. Qin Guang first searched for the company's phone number on the internet and called. Hello, how are you? I have a set of armor that looks quite exquisite for sale. Is your company buying it? It's quite exquisite. It's not fake, it's the kind you see on TV. The workmanship is superb. I used to work for a film crew and they gave it to me to offset my salary. It's from a legitimate source. He stuttered a little because he also felt that this call was quite nerve-wracking. The company was so big and these things were all produced by professionals. Who would buy something from an outsider for no reason? As expected, the person who answered the phone only said 3 words and hung up. Where's the crazy one? You're the crazy one. Even if the business doesn't work out, there's still justice. What kind of attitude is that? Beep beep beep. Looks like I can't sell it. Qin Guang threw the phone away angrily and went to hit the villain again. After a few minutes, the company called back. Hello, sir. Do you want to sell armor? If it's convenient for you, can you send a photo for us to see? My name is Hao Yukai. My WeChat IDs. The number was the same as before, but the voice had changed from a young woman to a middle-aged man. Perhaps he was the manager of the company. Although he was unhappy for the sake of money, Qin Guang still sent a photo to the other party patiently. Within a minute, the other party called again. Mr. Qin, where are you now? I'll be right there. 50,000. One price. 50,000. Alright, Qin Guang had no idea how much this thing was worth. However, it didn't seem too bad if he could get 50,000 yen from selling a bunch of metal pieces. He agreed immediately and asked the other party to drive to Gokyo University. Then he continued to hit the villain. Since he had nothing better to do, he might as well hit the villain. Qin Guang didn't know that at that moment on the other side of Wujing, Big Beard Deng was talking to someone about him. Chapter 79. After spending more than 2 weeks, Deng Xiaojiang had finally smoothed out the series of unforeseen events brought about by the sinking of the pleasure boat. The film crew continued to work. They had just finished filming the scene in the lake 2 days ago. Today they were going to film a battle scene with many generals. The props team did an inventory and found that a set of armor for the deputy general was missing. Deng Xiaojiang was furious and scolded the person in charge of the props team, Xiao Hu. What the hell are you doing? How could you lose such a big set of armor? You lost it just like that? Why don't you just throw it away? I don't care what you do. Hurry up and get me a usable set. I need it this afternoon. If you can't get it back, don't come back. Get lost. This Xiao Hu was even more wrong than Do Yi. He didn't know what was going on. All the costumes and props were arranged uniformly. How could they just disappear like a ghost? Did he bump into a ghost? He was also at a loss and had tears in his eyes. Big Beard Deng's saliva scolded him. He then shrank his neck and slipped away. Alright, I'll think of a way to find it. Wujing City is so big. It can't be that I can't even find a usable set of armor, right? After the poor Xiao who had gone far away, the site supervisor, Old Ma, looked like he wanted to say something but stopped himself. He had a strange expression on his face. Big Beard Deng glared. Old Ma, what's with that expression? Are you constipated or something? Do you need me to clear it for you? I didn't scold you, did you feel uncomfortable? If something drops, aren't you responsible as the site supervisor? Old Ma chuckled. Director Deng, I deliberately waited for you to finish scolding Xiao Hu before coming over. I was giving you a way out. My dear Director Deng, why don't you think about it again? Didn't you ask me to give that set of armor to Bro Qin Guang? He wore it and took it away. The one who saved Jin Shuiwei and Jiang Yage Qin Guang. It was that day. Big Beard Deng slapped his forehead. Ha, that's right. How could I forget about that little brother? Look at my memory. I'm so busy. That kid wouldn't be cursing me for being ungrateful in his heart, right? Old Ma laughed it off. Director Deng, don't worry. Brother Qin Guang is a reasonable man. He definitely won't make up stories about you. Why don't I call him now? Deng Xiaojiang shook his head. Forget it. I'll do it myself. It's already been 2 weeks. If I don't call him myself, I'll look like I'm putting on airs. Qin Guang did not make fun of Big Beard Deng in his mind, because he was busy beating up the villain. When the call was connected, Big Beard Deng said with a smile, Hello. Was it Qin Guang? It's me. Deng Xiaojiang. It's that Big Beard's director. That's right, it's me. With one hand on the phone and the other on the rag doll's neck, Qin Guang's mouth twitched. Yo. Oh hee hee hee. Io. My uncle. You finally remembered to call me. You scared me to death. I thought you had forgotten about me. This was the most embarrassing thing in the world. He was just strangling Big Beard Deng's little man's neck when Big Beard Deng called him. How could he do that? Deng Xiaozheng was also slightly embarrassed. It's my fault. I've been too busy these past 2 weeks. I just finished today. Didn't I hurry to call you? Are you free now? Remember to bring your armor to the set. I've arranged the scene for you in the afternoon. Like I said before, 30 seconds 100,000. Deng Xiaozheng felt very guilty. Back then he had helped him so much. He owed him a life-saving debt. At the time was tight and he didn't have the time to prepare more money, so he only gave him 50,000 on the spot. He decided to give him a small role for 30 seconds. On one hand, it was to return the favor and try to help this young man. On the other hand, it was to find an appropriate excuse to give him another 100,000. The money had been prepared a long time ago. It wasn't a large amount, so it should be given. Of course, although Deng Xiaozheng's personality was very casual and open-minded, he was very serious about the movie. Although he was helping Qin Guang, he was only talking about 30 seconds of scenes. But truth be told, Qin Guang's character was just a nameless, armored soldier riding a horse behind the commander of the two armies when they were facing each other. He just had to sit there and pose, and when the other side's commander provoked him, he just had to put on a slightly indignant expression. Speaking in terms of image, Qin Guang had to act like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where Wang Situ and Zhuge Liang were cursing at each other. On the screen, Qin Guang's height wasn't even half the height of the television. Even if he was a pure walk-on actor with zero acting skills, it wasn't difficult at all. It wouldn't affect the quality of the movie at all. In the face of Deng Xiaozheng's invitation, Qin Guang of course happily agreed. 1 minute on stage was 10 years of hard work off stage. He had trained hard for 2 weeks for this day. He was also very embarrassed. The other party hadn't forgotten him. They had just finished work and they were in a hurry to call him. Who was it? It was the gold medal director, Deng Xiaozheng. Look at his attitude. He was approachable and amiable. He was not arrogant or rash even though he was in a high position. He was so polite to a young college student like him. What a great man. Yet he was the villain behind his back. Qin Guang was so ashamed that he shed 2 lines of regretful tears. After hanging up, Qin Guang packed the armor and planned to drive out. As for the company that wanted to buy his armor, he had long since forgotten about it. The reason was very simple. One side was 50,000 and the other was 100,000. I'm not stupid. Can't you even tell which is more, 5 or 10? On the other end, Deng Xiaozheng cheerfully hung up the phone. He was about to call back the person in charge of the prop team, Xiao Hu, and tell him to stop looking. However, this unlucky guy rushed back excitedly and shouted, "Director Deng. President Hao of Iris Flower Company said he has a prop armor that meets our standards. He said he will deliver it in the afternoon. There are pictures here. This workmanship. Really authentic." Before Deng Xiaozheng could say anything, Xiao Hu had already placed the phone in front of Deng Xiaozheng's eyes. Deng Xiaozheng impatiently waved his hand. Go away, go away. Stop looking. Go busy yourself with other things. You don't have to worry about this armor." Xiao Hu was scared out of his wits. His face was deathly pale and he almost knelt on the ground. He looked pitifully at Deng Xiaozheng with tears in his eyes. "Director Deng. I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Didn't I already find it? Why don't you want it anymore?" Deng Xiaozheng choked on his anger. He turned around and glared at him. "Stop nagging. I just said you don't have to worry about the armor anymore. I told you to go busy yourself with other things. I didn't tell you to get the hell out of here." Big Beard Deng's heart was stifled. "Can you stop asking me why I don't want it anymore?" The old man was famous throughout his life. How could he admit that he had forgotten about it just now? Why don't you give me a way out of this embarrassing situation and just let it go with the wind? Can we pretend this never happened? Chapter 80. Old Ma was trying so hard to hold back his laughter that he almost fainted. Seeing Deng Xiaozheng's ugly face, he quickly came over and said, "Xiao Hu, stop making wild guesses. It's really okay. I have other arrangements for the armor. You can thank President Hao of Iris Flowers for me. The armor really isn't needed. You should get busy with other things. Don't let your imagination run wild. You've been with me and Director Deng for many years. Show some more confidence. As old Ma spoke, he subconsciously glanced at Xiao Hu's phone. He was puzzled. Why does the armor in the photo look so familiar? It's so similar to the one we used to wear. After Xiao Hu walked away with a confused look on his face, old Ma finally couldn't hold back his laughter. Big Beard Deng kicked his butt and said, "Get out of here too." Old Ma laughed and walked away. He went back to find Xiao Hu and asked him to forward the photo that Iris Flowers sent to him. He looked at it a few more times. The more he looked at it, the more it looked like the one that the crew used. Amazing. He thought that Iris Flowers had tried to work with him and Director Deng many times before, but it didn't work out. Although he didn't help much this time, he was still very enthusiastic. Their costumes and props are pretty good. This set of armor is on par with the one I made myself. It's just as exquisite as the one I made. It's just as exquisite. I can contact them later and strengthen our cooperation. Old Ma didn't expect that he was the one who gave the armor in the photo to Qin Guang. That Iris's Flower Company's chairman Hao only forwarded Qin Guang's photo to Little Hu of the props team. Director Ma, what are you laughing at? You look so happy. As soon as he turned around, Jiang Yage, who had just finished her makeup, came over. She couldn't help but ask when she saw old Ma standing under the tree with a silly smile on his face. Jin Shuiwei followed behind Jiang Yage and reminded her loudly, "Song Yage, don't jump too much. The ornament on your head is going to fall off." Old Ma was happy. He was worried that Big Beard Deng would make a fool of himself, but he had no one to share it with. The other people in the production crew might not dare to listen to Big Beard Deng's embarrassing gossip, but the two of them did not care at all. Old Ma vividly talked about Big Beard Deng's embarrassing stories with Jin Shuiwei and Jiang Yage. He even showed the two stars the photo of the armor. When Jiang Yage heard that the young man from last time was really going to come to the crew, her heart was already in turmoil. Although Jin Shuiwei's expression didn't change, her heart was also in turmoil. On the other side, Qin Guang whistled and got into the car ready to leave the school. "What? You mean the school sports meeting? Sorry, there is no freestyle in my dictionary. Only 100,000 yuan. Oh, I seem to have promised Bai Nyangzi and the other two to take them to see the world. Save it. The director is giving you a chance to promote you, but you still don't know what's good for you and take some irrelevant people to see the fun. Aren't you making trouble for him? As a person, you have to know what's good for you and know your place. The director is grateful, but you can't beat him with a stick. You can't make things difficult for him." Qin Guang felt that he could enter the movie of the famous director Deng Xiaojiang and even get a full 30 seconds of scene. That was an opportunity that countless handsome men and beautiful women in the Northern Film Academy could only dream of, even if they took the initiative to go to the front door to be slept with. "I just went into the water and I was able to get such recognition and promotion from Deng Xiaojiang. It was really a blessing of 3 lifetimes. If I didn't cherish this opportunity, I would be letting down the god of fate. Although people say that my acting skills are terrible, maybe it's because I haven't met a talent scout who can stimulate my potential." Big Beard Deng has a movie every year, especially the 2 movies that were released last year and this year. Both went straight to the box office of 1 billion yuan. His ability to turn stone into gold is definitely top-notch. Qin Guang had reason to believe that under Deng Xiaojiang's guidance, this natural superstar of his would definitely awaken on the spot, and his acting skills would soar to the sky. After that, it would be the crucial 30 seconds of scene. Qin Guang winked at the rearview mirror and thought, "I'm so handsome. If I get a close-up of my handsome face in the movie for 30 seconds, I'm afraid it will have a devastating impact on the reproduction of the human race. There will be millions of women who, after watching the movie, have high requirements for the appearance of the opposite sex around them. This will lead to an increase in the single rate. The birth rate will continue to drop. The great Wuxia will continue to age. The reproduction of the entire human race will suffer a devastating blow. I will become a sinner in history, and be engraved on a monument of shame." Oh no, I was too immersed in my own thoughts and my saliva dripped down and wet my collar. Magical power. Close. Qin Guang shook his head fiercely and his silly disease disappeared. However, when he remembered that he really had 30 seconds of scene, he couldn't help but secretly laugh. He even looked forward to it in his heart. Maybe he really had the halo of a main character like the main characters in those novels. Originally he was just going to be a bystander, and then in these 30 seconds he showed a perfect performance that could make the hearts of countless audiences tremble. Then he had a meteoric rise. In the next movie he played the second male lead and won the Best Supporting Actor award at this year's Golden Horse Awards. Next year I will become the male lead of Big Beard Deng's movie. I will become the youngest Golden Horse Best Actor without professional training in history. I will truly reach the peak of my life. That's right, life is often full of countless coincidences. I must seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rewrite the life of the best actor Chen Guang. Something is wrong. My condition is getting worse. Should I find a psychiatrist to talk about it later? I think I can still be saved. Hey, let's go. By the way, I should give that poor company a call. Maybe their people have already set off. I feel a little guilty for standing them up and not giving them a call. Chen Guang took out his phone and was about to call Hao Yukai when his phone rang first. Hello, is this Mr. Chen? I am Hao Yukai from Iris Flowers. It's like this. I'm sorry, but we don't need that armor for the time being. I'm very sorry, I'm really sorry. I just sent you a 200 yuan red packet on WeChat. I apologize again. Before Chen Guang had time to speak, Hao Yukai spoke first. This gentleman was really good at doing business. When it came to handling things, even if it was obvious that he went back on his word, it was still hard to be angry. However, Chen Guang had no reason to care about him at all, because Chen Guang himself was also a pigeon king. In order not to be stood up by me, you stood me up first? First is respect? Looking down at his Tong Tian holy teacup, Chen Guang couldn't help but have a terrible thought in his mind. Could it be that I have unknowingly mastered a terrible special ability? Whatever I want to do, I can control the other party to follow my thoughts one step ahead of me. Is this the legendary master of fate? It's terrible. This is a terrible special ability that can only be mastered by the protagonist of a novel who can live an entire book. Hao Yukai, you are too polite. It's okay. Thank you for your red packet. Let's cooperate again in the future. Hee hee. After hanging up the phone, Chen Guang sighed in his heart. Why is the upper limit of a single WeChat red packet 200 yuan instead of 1,000? Chapter 81. With great anticipation, Chen Guang drove the car to the Wujing Film City that Big Beard Deng had informed him about. The Wujing Film City was a newly built film and television base in the past 2 years. Its main focus was on the filming of historical dramas and movies, which occupied a large area. How large was it? Chen Guang lost his way in the car and nearly ran into the cameras of other film crews before he was escorted by the kind security guards of the film city to the outside of Big Beard Deng's crew. Kid, don't run around. Wait here obediently. I'll go greet Director Deng's crew and ask if you're the real deal. If you didn't say that Director Deng called you over, I would have chased you out. Director Deng's crew isn't like others. If you accidentally ruin their business and offend them, let me tell you, no one in China will be able to pull you back into the entertainment industry. This little security guard was on duty in the film and television city all day long. He had seen a lot of celebrities and big shots. His vision was very high and he felt that he had a very high status in the outside world. When he spoke, he was just short of being arrogant. Chen Guang rolled his eyes and could not be bothered to argue with him. He thought to himself, what do you know? Who am I? I'm the genius newcomer personally invited by Director Deng that you mentioned. I'm about to appear on the screen and become a rising star in the film industry. How can a loser security guard like you understand the ambition of the old man? The security guard went over. Chen Guang poked his head out of the car window and looked around happily, looking curious. As expected of the Wujing Film City. Just the area near the parking lot in Zone B, the houses that could be seen were all ancient and grand. Sitting in the car, it was as if he had returned to ancient times. Not long after, the security guard came back. He had a strange expression on his face, as if he had suffered a great shock. There were 4 to 5 people following behind him. Chen Guang looked in the direction of the security guard and saw the people behind him. He immediately understood why the young man looked like he had just eaten tea. Following behind him were 2 golden flowers in each of his hands. Jin Shuiwei and Jiang Yage. There were also their agents and assistants. Chen Guang was also shocked. He had thought that Big Beard Deng would be very busy. At most he would ask someone to pick him up. It was impossible for him to come personally. But he didn't expect that these two famous celebrities would personally come. This old man's face is several times more glorious. This old man's life is worth it. Qin Guang opened the door and got out of the car. He took out the shiny golden armor from the trunk and carried it on his back. Then he happily ran up to it. As he walked past the young security guard, Qin Guang raised his eyebrows at him. He was just short of riding on his face and shouting, "See? Am I the real deal? Real gold and silver were so real." The mentally injured young security guard left in a daze. He needed to find a quiet place to mend his broken heart. Qin Guang stood in front of Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage. Then he was so nervous that he didn't know where to put his hands. That's right, when he saved these two people that day he was quite heroic. He touched and kissed places that he shouldn't touch and looked at places that he shouldn't look at. But at that time he was in a hurry and his life was at stake. He didn't think so much at all. Later he lost control of his prehistoric power. He was anxious to protect his face and left without saying anything to these two people. Even now, when he saw the two of them again, especially the two youthful beauties, donned in ancient clothes and wore light makeup, standing before him with a smile on their faces, he couldn't help but feel that his heart was beating a little too fast. Especially when he was driving over, the two of them were even playing their new songs on the car's stereo. Qin Guang felt that his heart was beating a little too fast. Well, he didn't pay for the original song. It was a pirated version on a pirate forum. Feeling guilty, he couldn't lift his head up high. Others worked hard to make a song, put in a lot of effort. It only cost him a few cents to download a song. When he was drinking beer, his hand accidentally shook and spilled it. He didn't listen to the convenient and fast original version, but he still went to look for pirated versions. His conscience was uneasy. The two women didn't know Qin Guang's complicated feelings, but they came up together. They had just finished shooting a scene not long ago and were still in costume at this time. Jin Shiyue was wearing a simple but elegant green gauze dress, and Jiang Yage was wearing a white chivalrous woman outfit. When they got closer, Jin Shiyue spoke first. "Hello, Mr. Qin Guang. I'm Jin Shiyue, this is Jiang Yage, and this is our agent, Sister Zhou. Mr. Qin, thank you for saving my life last time. I wanted to thank you, but I didn't expect you to leave in a hurry and miss the opportunity. Director Deng is busy shooting and Solomon and I are resting at the moment. We have nothing to do, so we simply came to pick you up. After the shooting in the afternoon, please don't leave in such a hurry again. We want to invite Mr. Qin to have tea and chat with us to express our gratitude. Please don't delay it." Jin Shiyue's words were appropriate and respectful to Qin Guang, giving face to her savior. But in fact, her heart was not as calm as it seemed on the surface. How many lives do people have in this life? Her life was really hanging by a thread that day. If it weren't for this person who tried his best to save her, she was afraid that her ashes would have been in the ground now. Later, she heard from others about Brother Qin Guang's behavior when he was rescuing her. During this period of time, she couldn't stop thinking about it. Jin Shiyue, who had never been intimate with any man, saw this person again. He was the same age as her. Although he was not handsome enough to shock the country, he was indeed a sunny boy. It would be strange if her heart was as calm as still water. It was just that she was steady and her acting skills were superb. Under deliberate concealment, she acted dignified and generous without the slightest trace. Qin Guang was shocked by Jin Shiyue's words. Although I, the old man, have been in the society for many years, to put it bluntly, the society of the old man was nothing more than junior high school, and college. At most, I would add my hometown. All of a sudden, Jin Shiyue, such a big shot, said such official words in front of him. The old man really couldn't bear it. Waving his hand quickly, Qin Guang grinned and said, "Oh, Miss Jin, please don't call me Mr. Qin. I really can't bear it. Just call me Qin Guang. As for saving the two of you, it's not a big deal. Not to mention the two of you, even if it were two other ordinary people, as long as I meet them, I would also save them. So don't take it to heart. As a person who can swim, it's my duty to save people in that kind of situation. It's nothing." Chapter 82. Jiang Yage, who was on the side, was much more direct. Her small eyes kept sizing up Qin Guang from head to toe, especially the position of his crotch. At this moment, this little girl was thinking about the scene when Qin Guang was rescued by the site supervisor, Old Ma, and the scene of his broken thing swaying. She even subconsciously licked her tongue. I say Qin Guang, since you have said so, then you don't need to be polite with us sisters. They were all of the same age, so it was too awkward for them to call each other Mr. Qin and Ms. Jean. It was too distant. How about this, we won't call you Mr. Qin, we'll call you Qin Guang and you can call her Shiyue. As for me, I'll call you dear Xianxia. As Jiang Yage spoke, she leaned over and put her hand on Qin Guang's shoulder, a standard posture of familiarity. Qin Guang turned his head and almost gave Jiang Yage a fright. She was licking her tongue. This heroine, your eyes are a bit improper. In my impression, we are not so familiar with each other, right? We are decent people, so you should be more decent. If I didn't hear wrong, did you just say, dear Xianxia? Hehe. Jiang Yage's overly familiar behavior really shocked Qin Guang. Some people want to ask, isn't it a little too weak to be intimate with a celebrity and you are not only unhappy but also shocked? But Qin Guang has to defend himself. In his long life of 20 years, this was the first time he was so close to a dignified celebrity, and the other party was even a popular existence. He really didn't know how to get along with big stars. Did I make a mistake when I got off the car? Jean Shiyue was fine, her performance was completely within his expectations, but what was going on with Jiang Yage? Why was her performance so different from the big stars that the old man had always known? Master Qin Guang was at a loss. Although Big Beard Deng was a bigger star, he was still a director who worked behind the scenes all year round. He wasn't as familiar as these stars who often appeared on TV. In addition, when he saw Big Beard Deng, he only had a pair of briefs on him. In desperation, he tried to trick Big Beard Deng into taking off his pants. Later, when he met Big Beard Deng at the tea house, Qin Guang seemed so relaxed and casual. When he heard that the performance was worth 100,000 yuan in 30 seconds, he didn't even think about it and called Deng Xiaozheng uncle. But Jean Shiyue and Jiang Yage didn't play by the rules at all, which caught him off guard. Qin Guang was stunned and didn't know what expression to use to face Jiang Yage, this weirdo. Sister Zhou finally couldn't stand it anymore. She came forward and calmly pushed Jiang Yage away. She grabbed Qin Guang's hand and said, "Hello, Mr. Qin. I'm Zhou Yun, the manager of Left and Right Hands. Don't lower yourself to Solomon's level. He's just like that," she likes to joke. Ah, we just met each other. How can there be such a thing as dear Solomon? As Zhou Yun spoke, she squeezed Jiang Yage to the side. She finally understood that this young master of hers had really fallen in love with her savior. How could she let this happen? Zhou Yun's attitude made Qin Guang calm down. He smiled and said, "Hello, Sister Zhou. Nice to meet you." "That's right, this is the normal way to open." Jiang Yage was unhappy and came forward again. "Sister Zhou, you're wrong to say that. I'm very serious." Jean Shiyue grabbed Jiang Yage from the side and said, "Don't mess around. You're making Qin Guang nervous. Let's go back. We'll be in the next scene. We need to go over our lines." Jiang Yage finally stopped messing around. Qin Guang carried the armor on his back and walked with everyone to the filming location. On the way, Zhou Yun took the initiative to chat with Qin Guang. She really didn't want Jiang Yage and Jean Shiyue to have too much contact with Qin Guang. The two of them walked the path of purity. If they got too close to a young man outside the circle, she felt that it would cause unnecessary trouble. Zhou Yun's actions were understandable, but to put it bluntly, she was just someone who worked for Jiang Yage and Jean Shiyue. The two of them didn't want to be manipulated by her, especially Jiang Yage. She was like a sparrow that couldn't shut its mouth the whole time, chattering non-stop. Although Jean Shiyue didn't talk much, she would turn her head to size up Qin Guang from time to time, making him feel uncomfortable. Qin Guang was also very busy. He would turn his head to the left to chat with Zhou Yun, and then to the right to deal with Jiang Yage's questions. The situation finally went out of control after Jiang Yage said something. She said, "Oh right, when brother Qin Guang saved me and Shiyue, I was still slightly conscious, but sister Shiyue was completely lifeless. You performed CPR on us at that time, right? I vaguely remember that your hand reached behind my back and unbuttoned my bra. Then you used your hand to push up our stomachs to force the water out of them. What were you thinking when you took advantage of us at that time?" Feeling. Pfft. At the same time, Qin Guang thought that the beloved Solomon was the limit of this heroine. Only now did he realize that he was ridiculously wrong. For many years, the image of the two pure girls in his left and right hands was deeply ingrained in his mind, and it instantly disappeared. Sister, where's your integrity? This kind of thing happened, it happened. The old man did draw a world map in the bedding after the incident, but everyone had a tacit understanding. Don't reveal it in front of me like this. How am I going to face the future of my life like this? How am I going to have a pleasant conversation with you guys? Solomon, what nonsense are you talking about? At that time lives were at stake. In order to save you, Mr. Qin did his best. How could he have those messy thoughts, you said? How could he have the feeling? If he had been a little bit slower, both of you would have lost your lives. Sister Zhou was still the best. At the critical moment, she stood up and saved Qin Guang's glorious image of a savior that was about to collapse. Qin Guang nodded again and again. That's right. At that time my mind was also blank. I couldn't remember anything. I just wanted to save everyone. Let me tell you, I swam from the other side of the lake. It was a long distance and time was tight. After diving, weren't there 4 people before the 2 of you? When I rescued the 2 of you on the boat, I almost passed out from exhaustion. How could I remember what I did at that time? I forgot it all. Then he added another word in his heart. That would be weird. Sister Zhou was really a wonderful person. As she said that, she opened the LV bag she was carrying and rummaged inside. She took out a checkbook and said, Mr. Qin, I really don't know how to thank you for saving our lives. On behalf of Shiyue and Solomon, I have a small token of my gratitude. It's not enough to show my respect, but please accept it and don't refuse it. As Sister Zhou spoke, she swiftly wrote down a few numbers on the check. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.